Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
Star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the name.
Put me in, coach.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to, I need to say welcome back to SRC. I was meant to say welcome back to PSGL for E-Series Season 3, Round 2 of the Championship. Today, we situate ourselves at Belgium, which is, it's an interesting track, isn't it, Josh? It's a track I think we all love, but kind of two groups of drivers. We've got the quick ones at the front, and then kind of I wouldn't say slower, but some of them further down at the back. So I think this race could be quite interesting around this circuit.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be very interesting. Obviously, it's such a long circuit as well. I believe we've only got 20 or so laps, 22 to be completely exact. I've just looked over at my screen for a cheeky little one, which of course means, a shorter race. Tyres are going to have to get swapped, probably as soon as possible from the harder compounds to the soft. Tyres last long enough in these sort of races as well, so it'll be very interesting. And of course, you've got the Eau Rouge Radion, where you can get the slipstream down the Kennel Straight with the DRS wide open, making overtakes. Easy as you like going up there, but the weather has traditionally played a part around Spa, hasn't it?
It has. It's a very temperamental weather. It's a little bit like the United Kingdom in that essence. You never know what the weather's going to be, and it could be dry 1.5 laps later. You're going back into the bits for intermediate or wet tyres, which I think could definitely play a part around here. I've commentated many wet Belgiums in the past, and it's fun. But it does get quite heated between the drivers, especially in qualifying, when they're all trying to get around as quick as they can, and they're all, some of them are on different tyres and they're on different types of run plans. You get people being blocked because other drivers don't know they're on fast runs. All that happens, but then again, the chances are it probably won't be wet qualifying. Q1 itself is going to be quite boring, however, because we do have quali bands. We'll look at the lineup where we can see the quali bands on our screen. And there we are. So we can obviously see TF10 have Max Fiesel and Tony Roche. Ferrari have Mirko Soriano and Istvan Pukki. He's got a qualifying ban after, I believe it was for breaking his wing in Azerbaijan qualifying and gaining time on his lap. And then Race Clutch have Philippe Prejnoda and Reese Linton. Veloce Academy have Declan Barrett, who's also got a qualifying ban. That was due to them crashing and impeding a car. He's alongside Otis Lawrence. And then RHG have Julian Klaffenbach and Thomas Ronhart. F7R who is sitting second in the championship, have Tiger Hardy, who was here last week, alongside Jovan Bussel, who's also serving a qualifying ban, which was for breaking their wing and gaining time in Azerbaijan. Then we got Novus Racing with Nico Benz and Sixten Linthart, who's also got a qualifying ban. He crashed and impeded a car. And then the next 3 teams, don't worry, they haven't got qualifying bans. We've got Franek Mraviak and Kuba Wozniak for TES, a double Polish lineup there in that team. Then our championship leaders, SRC Esports, with Rihal Sprogis and Shanaka Clay. And then finally, Williams Esports with King Gundup and provisional last week's winner Ismail Fazia, who obviously did take the victory on track, but then got 8 seconds worth of penalties for contact with someone, and also having a breach under safety car. Now that, Josh, is not something that Williams will be too happy about.
No, absolutely not, and understandably so. Having a little look back from last week, with a refreshed mindset, looking at a couple of those qualifying bans for impeding, they do seem a little bit harsh, but then again, there's a reason. We don't make the rules, we don't dictate them. The stewards are there for that, and they have utmost decision. So, gonna have to roll with it. Personally, crashing in the castle section and impeding a lap, it's a little harsh in my eyes, but end of the day, that's the rules all the drivers go through. The other 18 drivers were able to get through the castle section, not crash and not impede people. So, end of the day, sometimes that's how it is. But as you can see now, we are getting loaded into the lobby. And I'll tell you something. Me and the little SRC mascot of Bob have been doing a rain dance off screen. And, I mean, it's almost worked.
Yeah,
I feel like it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's getting there.
It's a little bit overcast. It's probably not as overcast as Bob would have liked, but it's getting there. We could definitely see it getting wetter. Obviously, we can see already Istvan Pukit retiring from the session. And obviously, as I believe, the starting grid for those who qualify in bands are in championship order, meaning that it'll be Declan Barrett in last, in 20th, and it'll be Sixten Linthart in 19th, Istvan Pukit in 18th, and Jovan Bussel starting in 17th. And obviously, then we'll have one lone driver dropping out of Q1, which I say this every single time. It's so, I suppose, heartbreaking in a way for a driver to go out in Q1 when there's only one driver that's going to go out.
It's daunting, isn't it? Because that's the position that everyone just doesn't want to be. If it's 3 or 4 cars getting knocked out in Q1 with less quali bans, I don't know. It just feels like there's a little bit less pride to lose, knowing that you're not the only one who's going to have to go out. But when it is just that one position, it's almost an inverse poll. Everyone will do everything possible to not get in that position. It sounds obvious. You don't want to be starting towards the back, but when it's just that one driver getting eliminated, and the other 4 drivers there sitting talking with their engineering staff, discussing stuff as well, when you're still out on track, you feel like you've overall lost out not only on the time on track, ended up coming 16th, but then again, you don't have that opportunity to talk to your engineers, work with them, try and understand and digest more of the other drivers' racing lines that you would maybe take influence from.
Indeed, and we do have a few cars slowly heading out onto track, but these are the interruns, so I want to have a quick little look at the standings before we head in, and we can see once they pop up on our screen in a second. There we are. We can see that obviously SRC lead the way on 46 points ahead of F7R on 44. Now, it's the first time we've seen a community team lead the standings. It's also the first time we've seen a community team sit first and second in the standings.
Yeah.
So F7R and SRC, very strong coming out of Azerbaijan. They've got to keep up with it here tonight in Belgium. We can see third in the standings was last season's champions Ferrari Esports. Then we have Williams in 4th on 32 points, followed by Race Clutch being 1 point back on 31. Then in P6 we have Novus Racing on 20, followed by TF10 on 15. 2 points back from them is Thomas Young Sim Racing on 13 in 8th. 9th place is Veloce Academy in 9th, and then 10th place is RHG in P10. And well, Josh, coming out of that, we've got 2 teams that are esports teams, 9th and 10th in the standings.
Yeah, it's looking very, very tough. But I don't want to distract you too much. But I was just watching Max Wiesel go for Bruxelles. There was a couple drops of rain, Richie.
Oh. Well, that's why they left it then. That's why they left it late. Actually, no. Why wouldn't they have got it early? I would have thought someone would go earlier because... Oh, there we are. So the approximate weather at its greatest again. And yeah, it's very dark. And we'll see shortly. Is there going to be any more rain popping up on Max's screen here? As we just go on board with the TF10 Red Bulls, the heads up towards Bonchamont. But you can see the track does look quite cold, doesn't it? Looks very cold, and
Yeah.
if it does rain, could be interesting. Could be very interesting. Oh, what's happened to Julian? Oh, actually, haven't got a qualifying ban. Oh no.
Ooh.
Now that means we have no one good at a Q1 apart from Julian Klaffenbach because he's out. I think what happened is he's disconnected and it's made him retire from the game. So yeah, that could be it for she's qualifying for Julian Klaffenbach.
Very, very interesting. Having a little look at some of the data that the track is so graciously giving us. We've got a little weatherman down there who's giving me and Richie a little information. 25 degrees track temperature at the minute. So the tyre's definitely going to need a little warming up, but apparently there's no predicted rain.
Oh, so was you just like
I might have
things,
just been.
Josh?
I think I may have been seeing some things. Yes.
Because to be fair, I'm looking through. It's actually getting brighter, especially at the top of Lake Com here as they're heading towards Malmedy.
Absolutely.
So yes, Josh, a little bit of a scare there for us all.
Yeah. Okay. Never mind. I was seeing stuff. The sun's coming out again. It's okay. It's okay.
Julian's back, but unfortunately his car's retired. So yeah, I don't imagine we'll have a restart now because we've been going for 5 minutes already. So I think this could be Julian a little bit done for here. So he looks like to be starting 16th here in this race. Well, Q1 it means absolutely nothing now. So it's sent to Q2 pretty much. Obviously the drivers need to set the lap times, I think, just so the right ones get knocked out. Which means if you're Kian, Tycho and Thomas, don't crash on your laps, otherwise you will then completely mess up the system.
Oh, I really hope they don't. I hope for their sake. Realistically as well, it gives an opportunity for these drivers to save a set of soft tyres.
Yeah.
All they have to do is go out and do a lap on the intermediates and they know they're through going into Q2.
Yeah, pretty much, which is a good thing.
It would be an even better thing if you could actually do multiple laps around Spa qualifying as Julian leaves the session once again. I think at the minute, RHG are just trying to find out a way to try and get Julian back into this qualifying session, but it's just one of those features. It really is.
Well,
it's unfortunate for him as well.
It is. If you remember last week, he also had an incident on lap 1 because of him lagging very heavily, and I think he got hit into someone. So it seems Julian hasn't obviously been too lucky with his internet here as of recent, which is definitely not very good at all for him, and it's definitely not good at all for the RHG teams. You can see Shanaka Clay goes to the top there with a 1 minute 45.134 on the board. And we can see as well Tycho Hardy on an 8 lap. He's just heading through in towards Cœur de Porfrère shortly to begin the final part of this track. And this track, Josh, you wouldn't imagine it's 7 kilometres long. It is by far the longest track on the calendar. I think it's at least a kilometre longer than any other track.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous as well, especially seeing the transformation this circuit's gone through over the years. Obviously, before the bus stop chicane was added, you had a beautiful little left-right, right-left complex.
Yeah.
Just to spice up the start-finish straight as well, having a little bit of curvature to it as well. Going even further back, you're looking at the old town roads that you used to be able to go chucking it through the forest. But thankfully, health and safety decided to step in and gave us an actual racetrack rather than just some village roads. As Tycho Hardy now approaches, well, dare I say, the most iconic corners in Formula 1 history, Eau Rouge and Radillon.
I'd say probably the most iconic pieces of road in history. You know, everyone knows Eau Rouge and Radillon. I think even if you don't know it by name, you see a picture like, oh yeah, I know where that is. That's, you know, it's that famous racetrack. You know, and I think that's what makes Spa. Everyone knows what the circuit is, and you can look at snippets of the tracks from many different angles, and you still know what the circuit is. And I think, you know, it's a shame to see that this track at one point was being questioned whether it should stay on the circuit. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't think it's the most entertaining track. There's definitely many more entertaining tracks, but I think it's a little bit more like Monaco and Silverstone. It deserves its place. You know, it's a bit like saying, right, you know what? Why not just get rid of Mercedes? No, you wouldn't do that, would you? You need to keep them there. Same as Spa. So I think the fact Spa ever gets any question is just ridiculous.
It's very, very harsh, realistically. I mean, to me, it stands amongst some of the great... It's similar to Monza, in my opinion. Sometimes for race, it might not be great, but it's there for more of a legacy standpoint. I can't fathom a reason why they would get rid of Spa and keep Monaco. other than financial. But end of the day, we as fans don't necessarily get a say in it. We can just voice our opinions, and yeah, it's by far probably my favorite circuit ever. Give it any car combination. The reason for that as well is a lot of the iconic names we've seen around here pick up their first wins, debut. Leclerc, Schumacher come to mind. Yeah, it just holds a special place in my heart.
It does, and I think, well, for someone tonight, it will hold a special place in their heart because this is the first time we've raced at Spa here in E-Series throughout 3 seasons. Yes, we haven't been at Spa here for 3 whole seasons, so we'll see who can take the victory here on the debut race in this series. And qualifying-wise, we know track position is very, it's very keen, and you definitely want to be higher up. But we see drivers sometimes, on occasion, maybe some of the faster ones, still make their way up through the grid. So if you're the likes of Julian Klappenbach, who it seems will be starting P16, it's not all over. You can still, you can still try and make some positions. Some drivers who aren't as quick will struggle, but I think he have an easy job of getting his way through the field. We've got a few more drivers starting laps now. We've got Otis Lawrence heading down in towards turn number 7 at Lake. We'll see what he can do on his opening run off. 30.6 is the first sector. Obviously, every driver now pretty much on the intermediates. I don't think anyone has got out on a set of softs. They have. From Moraviak, Goldendorp, Rihards, and Thomas have gone out on a set of softs.
Yeah, Shinanka as well. He's going back out.
Okay.
Very interesting.
Well, all I would imagine is as long as they beat the position of 6 and Istvan, Julian, Jerry, and Declan, they're all through. That's all I would imagine. So I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why drivers are going to choose to go out again on a set of softs. But then again, they've got them to use. So why not give it a go? Yeah, why not give it a go? Get yourself a little bit of, I suppose you could say, practice here in the session. But we'll go on board with, who should go on board? We'll go on board with Ismail Fassi, who actually won last time out in Azerbaijan. But as we said earlier on, got an 8-second penalty in total. It was a 3-second penalty for contact with Reece Linton, and a 5-second penalty for being over the 4-second delta on the safety car, which obviously then got him that penalty. So big shame he dropped down to around, I think it was about P10 in the end, which was a big shame for Williams because they was looking to become the championship leaders going out. Last season, I think it's clear to say Williams didn't have the best season at all. They missed out on so many opportunities. Going into this, they took a victory. They was happy, but unfortunately, that victory got unfolded very, very quickly, as you can see. Some more times coming through. Nico Benz for MVR, the 46.6. Otis Lawrence, the 45.5 for Veloci Academy. And Declan Barrett and Otis Lawrence, now that is, for the Xbox people, a little bit of a nostalgic partnership back on the old, on the Xbox platform in F1 21 and 2. It was obviously FRA Elite 45 and Smokey. Obviously now they've got a little bit older, got a little bit better, moved on to an actual proper platform, which is PC.
Got some better usernames.
And now they got better usernames, and here they are back again. I don't know if there was ever teammates back in Xbox, so I remember them being rivals. But either way, for the Xbox people, they're two very memorable and nostalgic OG members of the community.
Absolutely. I mean, it's just the impact they've had on the F1 community as a whole. It can't be understated in the slightest. Realistically, there's arguments for having potentially a Mount Rushmore of community drivers. And I could personally see one of them, if not both of them, potentially getting up there.
What, in terms of getting to esports?
Oh, getting on the Mount Rushmore of community drivers from what they did back on Xbox.
See, I want to agree, but I don't have a clue what the Mount Rushmore is, Josh.
It's that big stone in America they carved with all the presidents.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant. I've learned something new at least.
There you go. Black. That's Black country history, and school helping you, I guess, right?
Yeah, only a little bit. So yeah, so there we are. They'll be on Mount Rushmore. There we are. There we are. I've learnt it now. As Moraviak goes up into second with a 41.111. It was King Goendorp who set the fastest time there with a 40.996 on a set the soft compounded tyres. We can see Kim Wozniak coming through. He's only just started his lap, so we'll try and find someone else. We can see Pressure, who's also only just started his lap. What about Tanner O'Shea? We'll see where it's he's at the end of the first set. So currently he's gone purple on a set of Inter. So I have a sneakily believing that that's obviously not true. As you can see, Shaneka Clay goes to the top there with a 1 minute 40.584.
Yeah, I can confirm that sneaky little feeling of the game deploying another one of its very famous features is absolutely correct. So far, fastest first sector is done by a race clutch driver, Philip Preschnader, who's also on a lap with a 29.8 going through the first sector, just barely beating Shenanka Clay in the SRC Aston Martin.
Well, we'll see what Philip can do as he heads through in towards the Lafanya chicane shortly. We'll see what he can do in that second sector once he gets to the end of it. You can see just throwing the car in down to fifth gear, just powering it through. Obviously on those soft tyres, got a lot more grip than the Inters. Down in towards the two right-handers now. We'll see what he can do at the end of this second sector. A 12.6 split there for Preschnader. Very nice so far indeed. Obviously Race Clutch as well would have definitely liked to get more points than they did in the first round, so we'll see if they can get any more today. Obviously, Philip Preschnader wasn't here last week. Reesenton was, however, so we'll see if Reese can try and get some more performance out of that Race Clutch Alpine car. Philip now heading down in towards a bus stop chicane, down to third gear, just loads the car in there. You can see he's twitching around on the exit as he gets back on the power. Wozniak into second. Philip Preschnader goes up into second out of the 5.91. Still not able to beat the time of Shenanka Clay, but that's only, what, 7,000 separating Shenanka and Philip.
I'll tell you what, keep an eye on Reese Linton here, about to be chucking it through Blanchimont. He's gone purple in the first and second sector. Race Clutch seem to be on absolute smoke today. They're looking to really try and stick it back to some of these community teams and get a positive run. They didn't really get too much of an eye in last season, did they, here at E-Series? So now, I mean, realistically, doors are absolutely wide open for one of these top-tier teams to be able to come and smash it through, and it looks like Race Clutch taking that opportunity with both hands as Reese Linton comes across with a 140.3. I don't know about you, but this feels a little bit like showing off now.
Well, Race Clutch, we know they've looked strong. We know they've also been in a bit of controversy recently, and you can see that to these two drivers, it has not kind of, affected their performance whatsoever. So, Race Clutch, I think, even last season, they had a couple of races where you thought, you know what, they're going to win this. They're going to get 2 podiums. So I think they got more than enough skill to do it. Obviously, Reese and Philip, Philip's been around here for donkey's years. I think he was back near the start of F1 Esports around 2018 time. Reese Linton, obviously, he's been on the Xbox side quite a while. He's moved over to PC recently, got himself into, into the Race Clutch team, and he's doing a brilliant job, I think, to start off his campaign, and hopefully for him, into towards the F1 Esports in the future. Thomas Runhart into 10th position. Now, that's a name we'll be watching here tonight, and he's also giving us a bit of a drift show as he heads out to turn 1 at the source. And he's got a few more drivers come through. I think now that might. I think everyone might as well retire here. Yeah, because But Merkel's got an outlap.
Yeah, I mean, unless they really want to just get a bit more experience in and just put a couple laps in, maybe to get into the groove, into the rhythm of this qualifying session. Other than that, retire, call it there, move on to Q2. But Mirko definitely seems to want to at least get a little bit more action on track and prep himself a little bit better for the upcoming qualifying sessions. Now, you got to feel bad for Istvan Pukki. Ended up, it was such a difficult race for him last time out, and now he's starting P17, and he's got a bit of a mountain to climb.
Yeah. I feel like Istvan never gets any luck. I see him in WR, PSGL F1, here. It seems every time he's near the back in the race or in the qualifying because there's something silly that's happened. And I've got to feel for the guy. And I can understand his frustrations as well because I know he gets very frustrated. And yes.
But at the same time, right, he's always down there. And it's very, very rarely of his own fault.
Yeah.
But he always finds a way back through the field. And that's something I could really, really respect with Istvan, because I don't know what it is. Wherever he is, however he is, sometimes it's a safety car, sometimes it's just sheer pace. He's always able to find himself cutting his way through the field and getting himself in towards that, points battle in the midfield, regardless of what tier, where it is, what track. He's absolutely fantastic at finding those opportunities to carve himself through the field. So that'll be something else to keep a special eye on here today.
Indeed, I think Istvan, from what I've seen at least, in one of those drivers that performs very well in the race, and Runhar's spun down at the bus stop chicane. Ah, silly Runhar. Where's he going to go? Is he going to continue? Oh, has he got no fuel?
It's some pre-donuts.
He's going to drive to the line. He's run out of fuel on the way to the pits.
Oh, DRS is open though. We love that.
There we are. Next head to Mirko, who's up by 8 tenths. Can he try and take the fastest lap here in this session? Because the track has got a lot nicer. It's got a lot brighter over these past 18 minutes, and it's the best it's been so far. So Reece Linton leads on a 40.397. We'll see if Mirko can try and jump himself ahead. It means pretty much nothing here in Q1, apart from the fact we know that Mirko's got pace, and that was a close one. Nearly binned it. Whew. Well, that would have definitely been a big scare.
Yes, it's a good job he doesn't need the slap to get through, realistically, isn't it? Invalidation there being picked up as well. And I feel like that's something we've not really touched on so far as well, is the track invalidations around here.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they're really, really generous. Thinking about through Blanchimont, they can be so generous. And then other times, especially, heading through Radion, they can be tough. They can be so, so tough. You get more than a wheel's width over, it'll have you. It'll have you every day of the week.
Yeah, indeed, as we can now see. Mirko does enter the pits in his Ferrari, which hopefully will not be a black Ferrari in 2024, and hopefully will stay as a red Ferrari. As we know, carbon fibre has become quite prevalent. Apart from the V-carb car, we have a bit of time to talk about it. Josh, what do you think of that car? Do you like it? Because I think it's brilliant. I love the livery.
Yeah, it's quite nice. Although, ironically, I wish I had a bit of black on it.
Really?
Or a little bit more. Yeah. I feel like I would feel more comfortable calling it a Minardi if it was, had a bit more carbon fibre on it. But it's interesting. I'm looking forward to see how it looks in the game with some renders. And I'll tell you something. I feel like F7R, if they do get the opportunity to run a custom livery in this year's game for the next year's car, that makes sense. I feel like it could be quite a good addition.
Yeah, indeed. But we come to the end of Q1 now, and we can see it's Reece Linton who tops the session with a 40.397. Then we have Shanaka Clay in second, Preshneda in third, followed by Wozniak, Goldendup, Raviak, Sprogis on the soft tyres, and we'll jump down to the bottom quickly. And we can see it'll be Lintar, Pookie, Klaffenbach, Jerry Van Bussel, and Declan Barrett, who'll be starting from the back of the grid. So we come through towards Q2 now. We've got 15 drivers all looking to get through towards the, obviously towards that Q3 stage. Only 10 make it through. We don't really have much of an indication of who's quick whatsoever. So now I think this puts a lot of pressure on a lot of drivers going through into Q3, because some of them did get their soft runs in, but some of the soft runs, I saw someone do a 41.2. I know for a fact that is not a representative time. So
I feel like we've got to give them benefit of a doubt, and they knew they didn't have to do the lap. They just wanted to go around and kind of just pick up some braking points, just remind themselves and get themselves in a rhythm. I feel like it's a bit like winter testing, really. You can't read too much into it. Because, if we're taking that as an example, it could be looking like a very long day for Ferrari, but of course, invalidated lap, took it a little easy on an into run. Can't read into it, Richie. We got to stay focused, and we got to keep an eye out for this qualifying session, because now, this is, we've done FP2, FP1. This is close to FP3, and they'll be doing qualifying runs now.
Well, I would say it's more closer to Q1, because this is our first actual qualifying session.
Yes.
It would have been a little bit more interesting if Julian Klaffenbach's internet decided not to die, but here we are. So obviously he ended up getting knocked out as well, so that made Q1 mean absolutely nothing. So obviously here we've obviously got 15 drivers, only the top 10 make it through towards Q3, and you look through and you can't really pick any names out that drop out, because they're all stupidly quick drivers in this grid here. I think this is by far better than last week's grid.
Yes. Looking through here, take it from the top on the timing tower. You got Shanaka Clay, one last time out, very quick driver. He seems to have gelled really well with that new SRC team. Brilliant to see. I reckon he's a prominent threat. You got Tony Richet, Max Wiesel. Do I need to say any more? Phenomenal talents, they're absolutely rapid. Reece Linton, we saw what he just did in that little, free practice session we had for Q1. He's got an abundance of pace, that can come out of nowhere. TES, I've learnt, never write them off. They always prepare, and I feel like this week it's going to be no different, so I expect to see the Mercedes in there for the fight. Philip Preshneda, again, raised clutch. Don't need to say anything, he's brilliant. Otis Lawrence, again, another phenomenal talent with Veloce. It'll be exciting to sort of see what he's going to be able to do. And you can go through the list of every single one of these drivers and point out something they've done. It's stacked, man. It's not fair. How are we supposed to pick a winner?
That's why I'm not going to pick one today. Normally I would, but I'm not. I don't think I can. I don't think I can even pick a pole sitter. But we have one driver who's always quick in qualifying. That's Max Wiesel now, also known as TF10 Grandpa, starting his next lap now. Headed up towards Erosion Radio, and we'll see what he can do on this opening run. He did take a lap early, but it was obviously on a set of the intermediate tyres, so we'll see what he can do on the set of the soft for his first run here in qualifying. As he heads down now the Kemmel straight through Kemmel corner, which I didn't know was a thing until yesterday. As he heads down now in towards Lacombe, his first set will be a 30.166 for the TF10 drivers. He fights his way through this high-speed chicane towards Malmedy, the right-hander, down in towards Brussels at turn number 8, and we'll see what he can manage through here. You can see, obviously, this section, very difficult to get right, easy to go deep and go wide, and also lock up in towards that, in towards Speaker's Corner, or No Name, as you head through, also known as Jackie's Corner. Even though it's called No Name, it's got 4 different names, which I know of, so it's the most weird name ever for a corner. As he heads through P1 now, in towards the Lafania, Piff Paff chicane. And so far, that Josh, this lap is looking perfect here for Max Wiesel.
Yeah, it's looking very, very, very impressive. Dare I say, I feel like there might have been a lobby mistake and put the Red Bull on to be realistic, because the way he's handling this car, I mean, it's supposed to be on a knife's edge, trying to find every millisecond out of this car, you know, through setup, but Max Wiesel's car control here is absolutely phenomenal. So no matter what sort of lateral loads he's putting these tyres through and how much the weight is shifted under braking, he's able to absolutely nail almost every single corner here as we come to the bus stop. Takes it a little bit deep and he dives it back into the pits.
Well, that was meant to be a brilliant lap, and I guess we never got to the end of it. So we'll go on board. We will go on board. We'll have a look as well. We got Geen at the top there. We'll have his teammate Ishmael Fassi come through. We'll go on board with the second Williams. We'll see what he can step as he heads up towards the line. Will it be to the top? No, it won't. It will be into second, though, only a little bit, however, off the back of his teammate. We've got Tony Richet coming through, the French driver here for the TF10 Team Tiger Hardy, 40.5. Put himself into third. Richet on the 40.6 in P4. We've got the 2 TESs come through. We'll go on board with Morawiak first, the first of the Polish 2 here tonight for the Mercedes team as he heads through out to the final corner. Up to line, what will it be from Raviak into P5, and what will it be for Wozniak? He's coming through, and he goes up into second there with a 40.473. Brilliant opening session there from Kuba. And obviously, we've got more drivers starting than that. So we've got Shanaka Clay coming down towards turn 1, Josh. Also, I think Shanaka, yet again, should be definitely one we're considering for pole here tonight.
Absolutely. Phenomenal talent. Absolutely brilliant work so far. And, you know, I feel like he might have a bob on his car here just to find those couple extra attempts. It works for me in open lobbies. Not to the best of ability, but that's besides the point. As you can see, he's absolutely chucking it down the Kemmel straight here. With that rear wing wide open, it's going to play such a pivotal part in this race, but so far it's just being used as a lovely little mechanism in order to cut the air a little bit more efficiently to try and reach a higher top speed before he ends up chucking it down into Brussels. And you can just see the way the car shifts over to that left-hand side on the camber. It is absolutely fantastic to watch these cars go around Spa. And as opposed to last year, you can't run on that little bit of AstroTurf in between No Name and Pouon. They've got to return back to the racing line. It is just quicker at this point before it ends up chucking it here into the right-hander before approaching the campus. Going around, making sure he doesn't pick up an invalidation by running the car out a little bit too wide, but it's so far so good for Shananki Clay. Absolutely on the limit there, purple middle sector. Brilliant stuff approaching now up to Blanchimont. Probably one of my favourite corners in the entire circuit, to be completely honest with you, Richie. I love Blanchimont. I feel like it's absolutely fantastic getting to watch the cars go through there before he ends up chucking it on the brakes just shy of 100-metre boards before getting it turned into the bus stop chicane, getting a rotation, which is so important in order to get a good run out there, not riding the curb, no wheel spin, and it's a brilliant lap time of a 140.1.
Indeed, and we can see now a few more cars obviously on their laps. Rieslington and Philip Presnier on runs. Obviously, Philip unfortunately invalidated a little bit further ahead. We'll go on board with Rieslington though. He looked very strong in the first part of qualifying, set the fastest lap by over 2/10 to the guy in second. So we'll see if he can yet again try and jump to the top. But that lap time from Shanaka Clay is also nearly 3/10 clear of Keen Goldendorp's time. A brilliant lap time there from the SRC driver. So we'll see obviously what his teammate Rihaj Bros can do as well. Rihaj is just heading down towards the end of the first sector. I'm going to keep on board with Rieslington as he heads through now in towards the right-handers, turns 14 and 15, curve to Paul Frep. Purple middle sector there for Linton, 12.352 for the sector split, so it's looking like a decent run. I don't think it was as quick as last time in Q1, but I think it's still a very competitive time, could still put him up into the top 2 here in the first parts of the Q2, or so to say the mid parts here of the Q2 session. In towards the brake zone now at the bus stop chicane. Just heavy onto the brakes before he throws the car into the corner. Keeps it now on the right as he exits the corner, foot flat to the floor, up to line. What will it be for Reese Linton? Into second there with a .316, and still no one can get close to that time from Shanaka Kleb. Got his teammate Richard Sprog is coming through, Josh. Let's see if he can try and get close to his teammate.
Absolutely, you're going to be seeing him now chucking it in. I don't know what it is about these cars, man. They're just so brilliant to watch when they're getting put under so much strain. Of the G's and the force going all the way through. Believe it or not, it's another feature. It's not a purple middle sector. Correct, looking about 2 tenths off of the purple one, which in fact Kian set on that 140.4. But Rehard is going to be looking to try and find himself up amongst that top 4 if this young man knows what to do here through the bus stop. Of course he does. He ends up straightening that car out as soon as he possibly can in order to get the run. And he ends up jumping to P7, only a tenth away from potentially getting himself into the top 3. And that just goes to show how close this ridiculous grid is, man. It's insane.
It is. This grid's brilliant, but Max Fiesel's coming through. He's also on a really good middle sector. We'll see if he can try to take that top spot. Max Fiesel, arguably one of the best qualifiers here in PSGL, goes up into second there with a .294. If you remember back in Spain in PSGL F1, Max, an F2 driver, I think he took pole and also won it, which was a surprise for everyone. No one expected Max Fiesel to win. So if he can do what he can do there here in E-Series tonight, he's going to be absolutely unstoppable. Still, though, a 10th back of the time off Shanaka Clay. We've got a few more cars coming through. We've got Otis Lawrence as well. He's heading through now in towards into that second sector of 12.1. That's a 10th quicker than what Max did in the middle sector. So here, Otis could be looking to try and take the fastest lap of the session ahead of Shanaka Clay.
Yeah, the fact I will just say, just in front of him as well is Thomas Rodhart, purple middle sector. He's absolutely pushing the life out of that poor Alfa Romeo. So we could potentially see another fastest lap after fastest lap as Rodhart comes across the line with a 140 flat. What's Otis able to do here? A 140.1 tipping Shanaka Clay by 0.003 of a second.
Well, that is a very close time. We'll see what Mirko Soriano can do. Can he go to third? No, he goes to 7th. But that there, 3,000 separating second and third, V8 and SRC. Brilliant there from those two. But the drop zone now features one of the SRCs of Richard Sprogis, Tony Roche for TF10, TES is Frank Moraviak, Philip Progenitor for RC, and then MVR Nico Benz. Obviously, they only get 1 car through into Q2. So Richard Sprogis now needs to find sometimes only half a tenth of the time of Tycho Hardy. But I think if he wants to get himself comfortably through in towards Q3, he needs to find 2, 3, 4 tenths of a second on that run. So we'll see what obviously he can get up to. Obviously, Tony Roche as well, his teammate Max Fiesel in 4th, him down in 12th. He would also like to get himself surely through in towards Q3. And Rihard's there nearly tapping the wall a little bit on the entrance of the pit lane, which is definitely, Josh, far from ideal.
Yeah, no, believe it or not, after what you saw at Baku last week with drivers losing a front wing, I'm sure they're making it so clear now not to lose the front end plates of the wing. Yeah. Especially around, a track like Spa with that fantastic middle sector. But if you end up picking up any form of damage, even in the slightest, your lap times are suffering considerably. As we're going to see Kian Gondorp here coming out the bus stop chicane, getting ready to start another lap. He's going to be looking for a slight improvement. Realistically, I mean, where are we even thinking this cutoff point's going to be? Because we've still got 2 drivers who haven't been able to put a lap time together due to invalidations.
Mm-hmm. You've got to be 0.4s.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, we could be looking at 0.4s, maybe even a 0.3 for a potential cutoff point for some of these drivers. So, laps matter, and of course, Kian Gondorp here going for what I believe will be his final run with only 3 minutes 20 left on this timer. There's a lot of weight on this young man's shoulders, but we know what he's capable of, don't we, Rich?
We do indeed. He's a driver I've been keeping my eye on ever since he moved over towards the PC platform. He's up there by just shy of a tenth in that first sector, so looking strong here so far for the Williams driver. Obviously, his teammate Ishmael Fassi also on the run. He's a little bit further up as well, so we'll see what he can manage to do. Obviously, Ishmael needs to be comfortably into Q3. I think we know he's got the pace to do it on multiple occasions. He definitely doesn't deserve to be down in ninth, so we'll see if he can also find the improvement. We'll go on board with Ishmael Fassi, but no, he's invalidated, so he needs to go again if he can. So he needs to try and get that run plan sorted. I think he's still got time to jump back in and get back out. If not, he needs to maybe save a bit of fuel and go around once more. But back to Cian Goldendup. He's coming through in towards the end of that second sector. Is he up on his time? He's up by 2/10. This could be a 0.2 here for Goldendup, which could put him just ahead of Max Wiesel as he comes through now. In towards Cœur de Pourfray, then in towards Blanchemont. We'll see what he can do through here. But so far, Josh, this is looking like a really good time here for the Williams driver.
Yeah, I don't want to curse him just yet, but it looks absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what he needs to guarantee himself a place into Q3. And something I just want to pick up on there, like you said, Ismail Fassi doesn't deserve to be down in P9. None of these drivers deserve to go out in Q2. In any other grid, you would find for any other league, any other competition in the world, other than maybe PCF1, all these drivers deserve to by far get through into Q3. It's just the matter of fact that this grid is absolutely so stacked as we see Cian move up into P4. But even that, I'm still thinking if the rest of these drivers are able to find a little bit of time anywhere, is it still safe? I don't know.
I think a 0.2 might be close. I think it should be, but then again, we don't know till the end. It depends what improvements people make. It wasn't out there on a lap. He's invalidated coming through in towards P1. They must have invalidated on the exit of No Name. So big shame for him now to possibly be out of Q2, depending if he can try and get it back around. But I think it's going to be a struggle for him to do anything about it here. We've got Tycho Hardy coming through. Obviously, he was in the top 10 along with his teammate Louis Valentine for F7R last week in Azerbaijan. They obviously are sitting second in the standings. So Tycho needs a really good run here in qualifying. Obviously, his teammate Van Bussel has got a penalty, of course, for an issue in qualifying last week. Obviously, they've made it through unscathed here this week, so we'll see what Tycho can do. I think he was up in that middle sector, Josh, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was up on his PB, but he was down in Sector 1. So now it all comes down to his final sector and pick him a braking point for the bus stop chicane and ensure he gets the car perfectly straight as soon as he can. I'm going to keep saying it because that's the key to maximising your lap time. And he ends up jumping up into P5, and this is exactly what I'm on about. Is a 0.2 really safe on this grid? I don't know. I really can't tell because of the depth of, quality throughout this entire grid. As Reese Linton there ends up picking up out of Sector 1. He's on a good lap at the minute, but there's so many drivers all throughout this grid who are on great lap times, and I feel like there's so many of them which can improve by 2-3 tenths of a second. It's all up in the air at the minute.
It is indeed. I'm on board with Philip Presneder of purple in that first sector on my screen at least. He's heading down now in towards P1. We'll see what he can do in this second sector as he throws the car in towards double gauge now, just absolutely nails the inside curb. Perfect so far from him. Ismail Fassi will not go any further. He's in 10th. That could be it here for the Williams driver. Arguably one of the quickest qualifiers on the grid. Big shame here for the Williams team. Jonathan Clay finishes in 3rd. Cian Goldendup will obviously stay there in P4. That should be safe for him to get through towards Q3. We'll see what Presneder can do. Can he get it through towards Q3 here for the Race Coach team to get both of their drivers through? Because Reese Linton looks strong in Q1. He's looking strong in Q2. We'll see if he can find any improvements. He's just heading out the final corner now. Can Reese Linton get himself any higher than P7 on the grid? Up to the line, goes into 2nd. What can Presneder do? Can he get himself any higher than 14th? He needs to be in that top 10. Needs to be at a 0.4 to get himself out. Can he? Goes into P8. That might not be fully safe there, Josh.
No, it might not be. Rehard's behind has invalidated his lap time, so that'll be Rehard's in P12. Unless Tony Roche, Franek, or Nico Benz can improve their lap times, next driver going to be coming across the line will be Tony Roche in that Red Bull representing TF10. We know he's a very quick driver. We know his qualifying pace can be absolutely outrageous as he slams it into the bus stop chicane. Beautiful work. So late on the brakes. It's ridiculous as Roche comes up to the line now, and that's a 140.4, popping him into P9.
And Moraviak's invalidated. Does Nico Benz go through? Yes, he does. P8 for Nico Benz. Now Mirko's out of qualifying here because he can't find any improvements. He's also invalidated on his lap. So Ferrari have got no drivers starting in the top 10. That is definitely very, very big for them indeed. And obviously, TES was looking strong. They've also got both their drivers out in Q2. Obviously, Kuba 12th and Frennick 15th. But I think the big talk there is definitely Ismail Fassi.
Yeah, I mean... It's so tough because, we've got to say goodbye to 5 of these drivers and all of them are absolutely ridiculously talented. But, it's so unfortunate for Ishmael to not be able to get out in time in order to go and get another lap sorted after that invalidation. It's so tough as well. You got to feel sorry for the likes of Rehard as well, who also picked up an invalidation. It can be so tough around a track like this where even if it's a millimetre, maybe onto that little astroplane, onto the runoff, it still might not be enough. And Ishmael Fassi as well there set the fastest final sector.
Well, he definitely had a point to prove, and I think he's proven it quite well. And we can see now the final classification of qualifying 2. It's Thomas Ronhart, who was quickest there with an absolutely storming lap of a 1 minute 40.028, 50 thousandths clear of Otis Lawrence in second, who's a little bit ahead of Reece Linton in third, followed by Shanaka Clay in fourth. Kean Gondup in the top 5, followed by Tycho Hardy, Max Fiesel, Nico Benz, Philip Preschneider, and Tony Roche rounded out the top 10, all making it through towards that top 10 shootout for Q3. Unfortunately, we did lose Mirko Soriano for Ferrari, TES's Kuba and Frank Moraviak, Ishmael Fassi for Williams, and Rihals Broggs as well for the SRC team. Obviously, going into the championship, going into round 2, leading the championship, SRC aren't going to be happy with the driver starting down in 14th. So Rihals has got a lot of work to do, and Shanaka definitely needs to get himself in that top 5 for qualifying 3.
Absolutely, but it wouldn't be the first time we've seen a driver come from towards the back of a grid, all the way up to the front around Spa, and it certainly wouldn't be the first time we saw it in E-Series either. So I feel like there's still an awful lot to play for these drivers moving into this next session. Yes, qualifying position is going to be important, but you got to think as well. Now the strategical games start coming into play. Do you really want to be on pole? Driver's going to get the slipstream, going down the Kennel Straight. Overtaking opportunity going into Lake Com. Is it ideal to be on pole? Maybe, maybe not. Depends about, well, firstly, it depends if the track's going to be dry for the race or not. And then after that, there's so many different variables which can all play into any driver's mind.
Wow,
it's got to be such a tough one.
Right, I have an idea it might start raining because look at them all. Hang on, it's raining. It's raining already. Oh well,
It's worked.
This is going to be
That's why everyone's out.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw them on fire, and then I saw drips and drips. So, well, look at this. They're all battling to try and get track position here.
Yeah, and Thomas Ronhar. Maybe he was having a drink. Maybe popped to the toilet. Might catch the rain coming down. But he's going to be started well off the back of his pack, isn't he? So he's going to by far get the worst track conditions to set his lap time. Well, we've got a brilliant battle, almost going too wide there, Shananka Clay. Well, I don't want to say we've already started the race, but it does kind of feel like a little bit of a race here in Q3.
We've got Shanaka Clay fighting with that'll be I think Reece Linton coming through. Oh please guys, please don't bet it on the outlap. But Tycho Hardy, he's loving this. He's flying away from these fields. So actually, Tycho could be on pole, meaning we'd have what? That would be pole in round 1 for F7R. We could be looking at pole in round 2 for F7R. A community team which missed out in the first 2 seasons now looking to take back-to-back poles. Well,
I'll tell you what, I'm going to put this out there before all the laps start. Chat, type in who you believe is going to get pole position here. I mean, realistically, I feel like you'd be a bit silly to not go for Tycho. He's got the track condition, surely.
He has. He's got the better track condition. Then the question is, when does the DRS get disabled? Because that will be a key indicator to when the laps are going to start getting slower. And obviously, once the DRS is gone, it's going to really ruin your lap. So we can see Tycho now heading down into turn 1. Later on the brakes, you can see he's struggling already on the, in these conditions. Just being careful on the power as he heads out of the first corner. Now heading up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. And please don't beat it through here. Slippery Eau Rouge Hill is not ideal whatsoever. As you can see just heading the car through. And even though you know it's going to make it through, you're still worried. Please don't spin. Please don't spin. As he opens the DRS now, as he heads down towards Lake Com and Josh, you can see the drops on the track already.
Yeah, you can already start to see that grease coming out from the racing line where all the rubber's been worn in. That's what that little shiny part of the track is. It's not because it's drier than the rest, it's because it's greasy, which of course these soft compound tyres will not like. It'll be spitting all that grease back up and it'll be wanting to slide the car around. And I'll tell you something which is going to be a little bit of food for thought here. Reece Linton with that purple Sector 1.
Wow, recently
he's fifth in the train, but so far he's looking like he might be coming out of this session. Absolutely brilliant stuff from a race clutch driver as he slides his way out of no name. There's so much to keep an eye on here. I mean, looking at his drivers, all of them struggling. You start to see a little bit of spray from the back of Tony Roche's car towards the back of a pack. As Thomas Ronhart probably rightly calls it back into the pits on that soft compound tyre. He knows he's not in an opportune window to try and set a lap time. But Tycho Hardy now, it's not looking the best. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to be completely honest. Nico Benz, purple middle sector there as well. Tycho might have the best track conditions, but he's the first driver around there.
Well, We'll see what he can do as he heads down now in towards the bus stop chicane. Can Ty go harder here? Take pole position in what is a very quick progressive session here in Q3. He comes up towards the line. It'll be a very slow lap time in these conditions of 46.9. We've got Nico Benz. Where does he go? He jumps it by 0.7 of a second. Keane going up into second place. Philip into third. Could it be a pole here for NVR? Racington into second. 2 tenths back off the top of Nico Benz. Shanaka Clay. Where does he go? Stays in P6. We've got the 2 TF10s, which will be Tony and Max. I think here, guys, it's going to be pole position for NVR because Max can't beat it. No, it's Otis on in second and Nico Benz on pole position.
Well. Who predicted that one, Ben?
Well, I can see Ron Hart on the wet on the Inters, but I can't see him beating those times because the track's getting worse.
Yeah, he's either going to have to get shifting through this outlap very quickly, otherwise, he might be looking at starting P10 in the Alfa Romeo, which isn't going to be where he wants to start in the slightest, and you still see that rain coming down. It doesn't look like it's going to be using up anytime soon throughout the session. So we could very well have MVR on pole, followed by Veloce and Race Clutch rounding out the top 3. That'll be an interesting turn 1. A very interesting Kennel Straight as well, with all these drivers battling for toe.
Well, I think the thing we should do is have a little, keep our eyes a little bit here on Thomas Ronald, because I can't see him getting higher than a 46.2. Maybe he could beat the time of 47.4, because that's over a second and a half back nearly from that top time, but the track's getting worse progressively. You can see water starting to appear on the circuit now. And, well, whoever guessed for pole, we saw Otis, we saw Max in the chat as well being predicted for pole position. And, well, it's NVR. It was F7R in round 1. It's looking here, probably, to be NVR here in round 2 on pole. Esports teams, well, they need to sort themselves out when it comes to qualifying, because, they're being beaten by some of these community team drivers here. In E-Series, so we can see Ron Hart coming down, Josh. Let's see, can he try and at least put a battle on a position for 9th or higher?
I reckon, after all the years of watching Thomas Ron Hart, you can never really count him out, can you?
Well, no.
The chips can be stacked against him, and he'll still find a way to make a challenge out of it.
Yep. Well, it's Ron Hart. He's quick everywhere, no matter what. This game, he's just ultimately quick, and yeah, it seems any situation doesn't really affect his race unless it's a penalty, of course. That you can't change anything about that.
Yeah, when it's out of his control, he can't change it. But whenever it's something in his control, he just seems to have a way with it, doesn't he? He's conjuring up the results he wants.
He's purple. Is he purple?
No.
Oh. I was going to say, he caught purple field. I thought, hang on. No. Is he nowhere near?
Sorry to crush it. He's not purple. He's 7 tenths off of Nico Benz's Sector 1. It's not looking great, but on the other hand, Nico Benz's side, right? Mm-hmm. He came in clutch in the qualifying to get into E-Series, setting the joint quickest lap time with rehards, and he's put himself on pole here.
Well, he's shown he's a quick driver. I think Nico as well, correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's just turned 13. He's by far one of the youngest drivers here on this grid.
Very young.
This is looking good for esports teams. They'll be sitting here thinking, well, we got a driver here in the community team. He's put it on pole here, and he's looking very quick. So maybe esports teams could be looking at him soon.
I'll tell you what I would love to see. Nico Benz and Kian Gorndorp together. Andretti Esports one day, I'm telling you. No, of course. Realistically, there's so many talented drivers which are on the younger side of the demographic here at PSGL, in E-Series. Otis Lawrence again, another one. This has got to be one of the youngest front rows we've ever had at E-Series.
It has, yeah. 13 and a 15-year-old. Or 16, I can't remember how old Otis is now. That is a combined age of what? We'll just say give or take 30, which I'm sure Daniela Haddad was older than 30 when he was racing.
Yeah.
It just shows the levels, doesn't it?
It's absolutely insane, realistically. I mean, what? You got Max Wiesel on the grid as well?
Mm-hmm.
I know, he's certainly on the younger side.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Max, yeah. I forgot he's 35, yeah. Well, Max also... Well, I think, these conditions just got the better of him in the fact he was near the back of the train. But I think if he was near the front, if he was in like a Reese Linton position, I would have expected him to try and get pole. Well, he did it in Spain last week at PSGL F1. It was, if I remember, the exact same as this, and Max went quickest, and he was third in the train. So.
Oh, absolutely mad. We've got Dylan Moran saying the combined age of less than Max by a year one child. That is insane.
Well, if Max gets a podium, I'm bringing that up, don't you worry. He's got to get a podium now. I'm hoping he does. Please, Max.
As well. Noticing we've got some regular names in the chat. Hello, everyone. Also got George Morgan popping in, poking his head in, mentioning about the track map. Not a fan of it, apparently, Rich.
Well, boo you.
Boo.
The track map,
We
I
like
don't know,
the full track map.
The track map causes a lot of issues in the chat. I've noticed before. I'll sit there and read it like, what is it? It's a bit of a line. Leave it alone. It's fun in the corner. It does its job.
It changes colours.
It helps me know where people are, which if I don't, but yeah, I think we'll see Thomas come back through. He's taking it very slowly, isn't he, towards the pits. He wants a lot of airtime here in PSGL series, which he gets enough already in PSGL F1 and WR. So, he hits the wall on the way. So we'll see Schoenecker and Thomas retire, and then we can have our break. We can have a bit of a wind down time, have a chat about qualifying, and then get our way into what could be a very exciting 22 lap race. And in the chat, someone says, voice like Ricardo. From what I know, me or Josh are not Australian.
No, absolutely not.
Unless
I've
you're
been called Australian
Ricardo.
Before. I mean, you never know. Never know. Yeah, I would love an Australian accent, but that rounds up the qualifying session. I mean, we had, realistically, an eventful Q1. And of course, dare I say, a very dramatic Q3.
Well, it was dramatic for 2 minutes, which is at the start.
Yes.
And we can see Nico Benz on pole position for the NVR skin. They got one driver pretty much at the back, being Sixten Linhart. They got one right at the front, being Nico Benz. And Otis Lawrence on the front row, obviously alongside Nico in second. We have Rieslington in third, followed by Keane Gondup in fourth. And the second Alpine of Philip Presner in the top five, ahead of Tycho Hardy, Schoenecker Clay, the two TF10s of Tanner O'Shea and Max Lees, and then Thomas Ronhar, who made a bit of a mistake of going get a little bit too late. So, yes, a big shame for him indeed in qualifying. But then again, he's starting 10th. To him, that's nothing.
Yes, I mean, realistically, so many of these drivers have the ability to cut the way through the field throughout, normal championships. I feel like it's going to be certainly something to watch them try and weave themselves through. Other drivers who are used to weaving themselves through positions as well. It's going to be, it's going to be brilliant. It's going to be something I can't wait to see.
Indeed, and just let us know in the chat, everyone, if the stream looks fine, because I keep getting a notification which keeps saying that my bitrate is too low. So please, everyone, let me know in the chat if it's working fine. It should be. But if it's not, just give me, just let me know. It'll be fine. And Dylan says, in my time off, I've got up 4,000 crowns in Clash Royale. Well, at least you don't stop gaming once your pedals are broken. Jeez,
that's a real gamer.
Isn't that a lot? 4,000 crowns. I don't play Clash Royale, but surely that's a lot of currency reward.
I feel like it's quite a bit.
Well, we'll see if Dylan comes back unwashed, but I don't think that'll be the case, unfortunately, for Dylan Warren. And when he comes back, it's still inevitable. I swear he's done one race in the past 3 months, and his pedals still haven't been fixed. So my question is, why have Ferrari not bought you new ones, Dylan? Come on, Ferrari. I know one of you's in the chat. Buy him some new pedals. He's one of your quickest drivers. He wouldn't race his asses in the E-Series. He deserves it. You'd be a lot higher than 39 points in the stands if that was the case. But we have a bit of a break now before we get heading through in towards the race. So we'll have a quick word from our sponsors over at SRC and GT Omega.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I've one looking forward very much so to this race. Feel like it's going to be great. And also, got a friendly little message from one of our sponsors here, SRC, who said that if they win this race, they're going to leak some of the SRC eSport jerseys, which I feel like could be certainly a little bit of a reason to give them a little extra route on. But at the same time, there's a lot of other teams on this grid which are going to be looking competitive and want to sort of establish themselves in this championship, because there's not really been any footing put down. You know, we've had round one, that's a little bit up in the air. Yeah. This is now a real chance for, you know, SRC, F7R to be able to put their foot down and put a challenge in and establish it. As well as Sauber as well. They've got Thomas Ronhaar in. They've got an opportunity here to really boost themselves up the standings. So I, for one, really looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to sort of figure out, tinker around with, and really try and mount a bit of a challenge up to the drivers, which, you know, at the moment, towards the front of the standings. But again, it's Spa, it's sim racing, anything can happen. We know Turn 1's famous at Spa for a reason. The sauce, let's hope they're not cooking with the sauce.
Yeah, I think Turn 1's going to be quite chaotic, and it's on dynamic weather, so I would believe it's probably going to start dry, or most likely going to start dry, but it could still start wet. I'm thinking either way, Turn 1's going to be chaos, because we've got drivers in all different places on this grid. It's not what we normally see. We've got community teams right up in that top five. We've got some esports drivers right down near the bottom of the grid. So, you know, this grid is absolutely, it looks like they've chucked all names in a hat and just gave it out random, because no one is where you really expect them to be. So going into this, it's quite hard to call a winner, because you could say, well, so-and-so's at the front because he did well in qualifying, but you've got drivers who are further back, maybe 10 positions back, but we know they absolutely fly in the race and could work their way through and get the win. So it's quite hard to call who will win this race. And, well, I think any guess I will make in a bit when I have my prediction, I think will just be literally a guessing game. That is all.
I mean, I'm looking through some of these names. You can't pick one. There's not, you know... Sometimes there'll be a handful of names you can sort of sit through and think, right, good starting position, showed good pace. You know, they've got good racecraft from previous races. They could really go for it. There's none of that in this grid because everyone has it. No one specifically stands out with it. I don't think I've ever been in this position where I feel like, you know, any of the 20 drivers, given the right set of circumstances, comes out winning this race in a dramatic fashion.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting one, but hopefully we don't have to wait too much longer. We've got all the drivers in. I'm a spectator, so I won't be put into a car, luckily. And I think one driver I'm also keen to see, you know, how he can do is Julian Klappenbach. Obviously, he's had some allegations in the past. He's got himself into RHD recently, now back here in PSGL. And obviously, we didn't get to see much of him in Austria. He qualified I think it was P5, and then had that, not Austria, I mean Azerbaijan. He qualified P5, and he had that instant lap one because of his internet. Well, we didn't see him qualifying because of his internet. So I don't, you know, there's nothing really we can base on. So I'm quite, you know, keen to see what he can do, and hopefully for him can get himself up in towards that top 10 and try and, you know, join Ron Hahn getting some good points. As we have a quick look at the standings again, we can see that RHG are pretty much at the bottom on only 3 points, which is not close to ideal whatsoever, considering that SRC, who are at the top, are 43 points clear after 1 of 11 rounds. So obviously, you know, looking through, I think also to highlight Veloce Academy, 11 points. Last season, they were near the top. They also need to find some really good points here tonight in Belgium. But, well, with the grid being like this, we could see anyone moving their way up towards the top here, Josh.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it could be, you know, a great opportunity for the SRC Aston Martins to really put a stamp on their charge for this title. But at the same time, you've got Williams, Veloce, Ferrari, TF10, R8G, F7R, Race Clutch. You've got so many teams here which, you know, can put themselves down as real competitors going forward into this championship. I feel like it's certainly going to be a mixed bag of emotions going into this race, with a lot of the teams looking to try and push that, you know, advantage they have further on, while the other teams are just trying to establish themselves back into the championship after maybe a poor round one at Azerbaijan, looking to try and go to a more traditional track, go back to their roots, get back to where they should be, where they, you know, may have left off last season. Take Ferrari for an example. Great opportunity for them now to rebound back, have a good race despite the bad qualifying, and really try and sort of wiggle their way back through the championship standings.
Indeed, and well, we're going to load into the session now, and we get ready for our start. So, Josh, I'll give you the reins for the
Yes.
start,
Oh,
and it's
dear.
going to be chaotic. So get ready to say, "Oh no, someone has binned it," because that is probably going to happen to at least one driver. It's Spa, it's turn one, it's a very tight hairpin. I can't see it ending well for someone.
No, it's one of those, isn't it? Because if there's enough run off on the outside, where if someone sees something happening, they can always get out of the way. It'll just be the initial contact on the inside, which would be, the sort of catalyst. But I have faith in these drivers. I do. I feel like this is going to be a nice, clean start. Everyone's just going to go single file through Radion or Rouge. When we're at the Kennel Straight, that's when it's going to be absolutely manic.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's my prediction for it. But we've got a little bit of downtime now to look at some of the interesting character models in this game. We've got my good buddy Michael Myers there on the camera, if you can see him, down in the bottom left. They all look like Michael Myers, I'm telling you.
I need to be a little more happy, that's for sure.
Yeah, of course. Imagine being able to record the Spa Grand Prix. I mean, dream come true, no? But yeah, this is obviously a little window for them to reapply the setups they used in the qualifying, get themselves reset up, do the strategies. What sort of strategy would you be looking for here, Rich?
One that gets me the win. Pretty much.
No, I'm letting Matt sink in. No. One which gets you the win.
Yes, soft to medium. I don't have a clue what strategy to work around here, to be honest. I'm not a strategist. I know Badger's in here, so he can give us a bit of an idea what the best thing to do is.
And can he though? Can he give us a great idea of what to do?
Well, he gives us
or could he give us a rough idea? If he says change tires, I'm finished. That's all I'm saying. Any of the people in the garage is T-posing? Tell you what, Badger, I'll have a look. Doesn't look like it. I'm looking at my screen. Can't see any of them, unfortunately.
Nor me.
Oh, darn, we missed out. Hopefully it won't be too long before we can end up getting away with some racing, because we've got 22 laps coming up here at Spa. It's a long circuit, but the laps don't feel long at all when you've got brilliant action going side by side. Come on, split us in.
What's going on? Come on, drivers.
Come on, there we go. We've got 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Wait. And away we go here for the Belgian Grand Prix. We've got Nico Benz already taken that inside line, defending, making Otis go a little bit wider on the exit. A little wheel bangs never hurt anyone. But Otis now will get that better run on the outside line. Everyone's made it through turn 1 okay. We've got a couple drivers going too wide. Looking at Tony Roche and Shenanka Clay. Slightly further down the field, still going too wide. Through Eau Rouge and through Radion. Very, very close. Shenanka gets pushed out a little bit wide there, but they're still neck and neck. But back up at the front of the field, we can see Otis Lawrence still pulling out towards the inside here from Nico Benz, who's trying to bowl his way around the outside, but he can't quite carry the momentum there. Otis there parks it on the apex beautifully, heading through Lake Com, giving Reese Linton the opportunity to jump it up into P2. We've now Kian Gorendorp here looking to make a move down the inside. And I feel like the floodgates have opened here for Nico Benz. He just seems to be losing position after position throughout this entire lap. It's going to be a tough one for him to get rebalanced and readjusted to the state. But as soon as he does, he'll be back up to running speed, and he'll be able to really try and make a charge back to where he should be.
Indeed, well, obviously those there, obviously being the 2 race clutches and the Williams, are on the soft tyres. So everyone else there down to P10 is on a set of the hard tyres. That's why Nico lost so many positions at the start. He's also lost a position there to Tycho Hardy. So something there hasn't gone to plan for him at all. Down to P6, started on pole. Definitely not the scenario he would have been hoping for. We've got Shannon Claire looking to make a move as well on Nico Benz. He's going to be looking to get himself into the top 6 after starting in P7. Very close to contact with Roche on the first lap. Now Preschneider into 3rd. So race clutch sitting 1st and 3rd in this race for Loche Academy with Otis Lawrence in P4. Can he try and launch an attack back on Philippe? No, he can't. He just sits back for now, doesn't bother sending it. Then we've got Shanaka Clay closing in on the back of Nico, who went for a move on Tycho Hardy. Couldn't make that move work there as they head back down to turn 1. Then we got Mirko Soriano under pressure from, it seems, Ishmael Fazi, who's on a set hard. Mirko's on a set of medium, so that isn't looking too well for here for Mirko as they head into turn 1. Has also Thomas Ronhard being overtaken as well by Sprogis. So Ronhard down to P12, definitely not an ideal start for him either.
No, it's not looking too great on that front, but Rehard use those mediums to its advantage. I do find it very peculiar that we've got the front three all choosing that soft compound tyre while the rest of the grid have gone for the hards, with a couple of exceptions here and there on the mediums. But, you know, they've got a little bit of a window to work with now to try and break that DRS barrier to the likes of Otis Lawrence and Tygo Hardy. But that's going to be a very tall task for them to do around Spa, with, you know, so much potential being given to them down the straights, thinking down the Kemmel Straight, all the way up to the Blanchimont as well. There's so much opportunity just to tuck into that slipstream and just try and keep up with the cars in front. It's going to be a mammoth task for them to try and break any form of DRS. So they might be looking at it for more of getting a soft tyre out of the way and perhaps trying to go onto some mediums or some hards later on, just to ensure they get a cleaner run towards the end with less tyred egg, and hoping they could gain back a couple positions that way.
Well, that was a send there from Rihaj into Poo. Wants to move on Ishmael Fassi to get himself up into P11. Perfect there from Rihaj Progress. Then we got Islam Pookie getting past Thomas Ronhar now. Down to P14 in this race. It's not normally what we see Ronhar do. Normally we see him going up, not further back down. So definitely not the most ideal start. Then we have Declan Barrett on a set of the mediums getting past Thomas Ronhar as well, dropping now down to P15. So yeah, definitely not ideal at all for the RHG driver. Further back ahead, we can see Mirko Soriano gaining in on Tony Roche to make a move for P9. Bit of contact between the two as they head out of the bus stop chicane, heading back down towards turn 1. Pressure has the fastest lap. Pookie's arguing there with Ishmael Fassi. Williams versus Ferrari as they head down in towards turn 1. We can see Isfan to the outside. That's close to contact between the two. Obviously, Isfan on the... What's happened there, Josh?
Pookie had a big slide there going through turn 1. Tried to hang it around the outside of Fassi, but it just wasn't on. And he ended up losing a couple of positions. For a second, I thought the car was going to be going sideways, and Declan Barrett would have the task to avoid it, but he was able to recover it back to what it was normally, thankfully for his sake. But also Tony Roche looking to try and get at least Mirko moving a little bit quicker than what he would like.
Ishmael then went sideways coming through and towards Lycom. That was a very close call to contact with him and Isfan Pookie, and luckily comes away unscathed. Then we got Declan Barrett now looking to get ahead of Pookie's. That's going to be further back. That'll be Ron Hart. Oh, look at this here. They go nearly 3 wide through and towards No Name corner. It'll be Declan, Pookie, Ron Hart all getting involved here as they head down towards Poo. And we got Fassi ahead. It'll be, I think, it'll be Fassi leading this train here through. We've got Tony Roche down to P13. He's just sitting in the middle of this now as they head in towards the Piff Paff chicane. You can't call what's going to happen because they're all everywhere. Julian Klaffenbach now sending moves on people on the medium tyres. He's on the hards. Brilliant there from him to get himself into P15. And now, oh my goodness, it's from Pookie into the wall.
VSC. Surely that's going to be a full safety car.
Whew.
Surely.
Well, that was something.
Yona put it in chat. Istvan damage. Yep, he certainly does now. Again, dare I say, it's another Istvan race where he's just got caught up in an instant, which isn't his fault.
Yeah, my question is, where's the safety car, guys? It should be a full.
I mean,
Rihal Sprog into the pits now. Has he got damage there? Because I think there's 3 of them in the pits now. Did they all get into damage? Because it's been a little bit silly into what's course. So we can see Richet. Is he getting a front wing change? Yes, he is. Is Rihal's getting a front wing change? Yes, he is. Is Ronhar getting a front wing change? No, he's not. Of course, it's Ron hard to do that strategy, so he's going to go medium now, still in this race, because he's not going to take these mediums 18 laps, surely. So, well, there we are. The race has changed dramatically after 4 laps of racing, and at the front, this has helped them because they now get their tyres to be survived for a little bit extra time.
Yeah, it might not feel like it's going to be helping too much, but give it 1 or 2 extra laps when these tyres are going to start getting towards that critical stage, towards the drop-off point of the longevity of the tyres. That'll be when, you know, they can last that extra half a lap longer and just really be able to find the pace, because it's going to be crucial to keep those tyres alive and make sure they end up falling out of the window after Sector 2, because that, of course, is where the soft tyres pick up the most ground on the hards and mediums.
As they come through now, down in towards the Pip Paff chicane. We can see the cars are looking to get in on each other. Reece Linton there in second at the moment. He's looking to just sit with his teammate Philip Pressure and just pull each other along. There's no point arguing too much between these two. They're doing a brilliant job at the front, leading them away. But then the question is, how many laps more is it before the likes of Otis and Tycho look to gain in and get themselves in towards 3rd and 4th place? Because they're going to be able to do it soon. So they just got to try and keep pulling the gap, which at the moment they're not doing that much of a job of. Even on the first 2 laps, they didn't really pull away too much from those on the hard. So they've still got a lot of work to do here in this race to do so. Otis looking to gain in on the back of Kian as they head in towards the bus stop chicane. Further back, we can see Declan Barrett making a move, or looking to make a move potentially on Ismail Fassi as they head through towards the bus stop chicane, heading back down towards turn number 1. So we'll see what happens between these two. Declan's got that DRS, of course, on the back of the Williams, so I'll expect to see him try and make a move possibly down towards Lecom, because he'll have the speed to do so then, and also it seems that the moment he's still got that more pace and better tyres.
Yeah, but then he's going to be finding himself in that window where he's just a little far out to be able to pick up the DRS from Mirko in front of him of Ferrari, so that'll be certainly a little bit of a tough challenge for Declan to try and cut that down by just over a second in order to get back into that DRS range and sort of bunch the pack back up and continue DRS trade. But Declan, I don't know. I feel like as long as he's kept these mediums in check so far out of 5 laps, he could be on for a pretty decent way to try and, rebuild that bridge between the drivers. As we see Nico Benz picking up the first penalty of the evening, 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings under corner cutting.
Yeah, that's our pole sitter on poles, looking strong going into this race now. Then in P7, we'll probably lose that top 10 because of that penalty. A big shame here for Nico Benson. He's got to pull something at the bag right now. He can't afford to sit around. If he wants to get himself in that top 10, he needs to work very hard at this point. Lawrence looking to gain in on the back of Keane Gondorp here. It seems that the softs are already looking to lose a bit of pace. We can see already Otis just pushing through on that. Sorry, that'll be Philip Pressure in third. Sorry, just pushing through on the Alpine as they head down in towards the bus stop chicane. And further back, we can see Max Wiesel also looking to get himself ahead of Nico Benz. You can see just pushing there and got a lot more straight line speed carries than the MVR driver. And that makes me think, has Nico got some sort of damage here on the car?
I mean, potentially. He kind of got swallowed up very quickly, didn't he? From, lap 1 going down the Kemmel Straight into Lecom, into Bruxelles. He lost a lot of positions very, very quickly. So there is a bit of a potential for damage. I'll see if I can find anything out.
As we can see, Lawrence looking to gain in yet again on the back of Pressure, but he's lost on because now we've got Togo Hardy pushing through on the Veloci Academy driver as they head up the hill in towards Lecom. We got Pressure already on to put a move on the back of Keane Godendorp as they head down towards Lecom again. And we can see now it'll be Keane looking to go for the lead. No, we'll have Pressure to the outside, backs out. Let's Keane keep that P2. Let's retake the lead and keep the lead as they all fly through. We've got Toko and Otis just sitting behind in P5 and 6 still. And further back, Thomas Ronhard looking to obviously pulling along Richard Sprogis. Those who are looking to make some inroads in that gap as Richard takes that P15 away from Ronhard. They got a 9.2 second gap to Jay Van Bussel. And that gap's come down by 2 seconds since the VSC's come in. So they're gaining about a second a lap on those there, it seems. Obviously on those younger medium tyres, we can see yet again further back we've got Shanika Clare looking to make some moves. Sixten Linthart ahead of Cooper Wozniak there for P18 and P19. But still, Shanika Clay also looking very strong. We noticed it last time in the race. He's always really strong. He can always apply pressure on drivers ahead. So we'll see him looking to try and make some moves ahead of Taika Warotis if he can in the next couple of laps here.
Yeah, it's not only that as well. You got to think that the pressure that Tycho and Otis are also putting on these front 3 runners on the soft compound of tyre must be absolutely immense. Because, I mean, if we take a look at Otis here, going through Blanchimont, you can see he's going to be all over the back of Philip Prejnader, filling up the rear view mirror, having a little swerve, having a little, dance in the rear view mirror, breaking off of the racing line before it, drifting the car back across. He's just doing stuff just to put Philip Prejnader off by any small amount possible. It's a very Fernando Alonso driving sort of technique of just being in your rear view mirrors, trying to pressure you into a mistake. But on the other hand, you've got the likes of Philip Prejnader, who is a seasoned veteran of sim racing. He would have dealt with this before. He would have dealt with everything in that little book of tricks Otis Lawrence has got. So it's got to be something that Philip will be used to, that he knows he doesn't need to worry about just yet. He's got to focus on working with Keane Gorendorp and his teammate Reese Linton to make sure those soft tyres are going to be in the best working window possible when it comes over for that switch time.
Indeed, because Otis Lawrence now pushing on the back of Prejnader. I think the softs are probably hitting their drop of around now. Otis looking to gain in. Obviously, he's not going to send silly moves yet, as he knows he's still not going to lose too much time to those behind, and he's not going to lose too much to those ahead. So I think his best thing to do would be wait until he gets the opportunity clear for him. So maybe down to turn 1, maybe down in towards Laycom to make the send. Obviously, Kuba and Sixers still swapping around for P18 and P19. Obviously, those two have had a very terrible race so far to start it off, and I can't see them really making much work from those positions. Further back, we can see it'll be Mirko Soriano looking to gain in on the back of Nico Bez, and the medium still looking quite strong at the moment. Obviously, Mirko's teammate Isam Pukki is DNF'd on lap 3, so he won't be taking any further part. It's down to Mirko to see what points Ferrari can get today, but it looks like at the moment they're not going to get that many.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite... it's almost the polar opposite of what we had last year, wasn't it? Where Ferrari were away, leading, dominating, really showing that, you know, they were the esport team to beat, that they were one of the lead frontrunners. And now, all of a sudden, it seems like maybe not even Ferrari took a step back, maybe the other teams around them have just took a giant leap forward, looking ahead and really starting to apply the pressure, where when Ferrari have moments like this, or when István Pukki gets caught up in incidents which aren't necessarily his fault, you know, there's a lot more on the line to risk, as we're going to see Mirko now trying to take the outside line before he rightfully backs out there. I was about to say that would have been audacious. But that'll size him up perfectly now for the Kennel Straight. He's got to have the DRS open, and he'll be deploying a little bit of battery if he wants to get back past. But at the moment, if I was a medium compound runner, I wouldn't necessarily mind sitting behind the hard tyres. They've got to get past the soft tyres. If the soft tyres are going to dive it in the pits, you just have to focus on your own race. Calculate where you're going to make the overtakes. Calculate how you're going to use the tyre wear. That's what I would be trying to do.
Indeed, and we can see more of the cars coming through now. Obviously, Otis yet again applying pressure on those on the softs. We can see further back Max Wiese looking to close in on the back of Shaneka Clay as well. And obviously, Max has been a little bit unknown here in this race. He's just kind of been sitting where he's in P7, not really done much, not really, you know, lost much at all. And I think he's also a driver we could see here get some decent results in this Grand Prix. Obviously, had a decent result. I think it was back, not last week, it would have been in last season. He had many decent results. I think he come home with, 3 pole positions over the course of 8 races. So we know, when it comes to qualifying, Max is always near the top. But obviously, these conditions today definitely didn't favour them, being a little bit, unpredictable, not knowing what you're going to do. And that's probably why he's starting so far down. We can see, though, Otis pushing in to the back of Philip. He's very close to heading towards the bus stop chicane. Do we see a move sent from the Veloce Academy driver? He pulls to the inside line, sends it on one. He gets close to the back of Reese as they head through. But Philip's got that inside line at the exit, the chicane. They go side by side on the exit. Otis way better on the exit there with those better tyres. Now, the softs definitely looking to start to die down here in this race. And we'll see Otis probably within the next 2 laps, probably being the lead of this race.
Absolutely, you can see now. You could just tell from the traction they got out the bus stop chicane there. You saw how degraded those soft compound tyres are, how much stress has been put through them, how they've got, you know, practically so little traction left. It wouldn't surprise me if you see Otis taking the lead before the end of the Kennel Straight as they end up chucking it 3 wide. But again, using a little bit of that battery just to ensure he's got it done before the braking zone, which is going to be crucial for Otis's race, because now he's got a little window buffer, doesn't he? These 3 soft compound tyre runners, he's got that window to Tycho Hardy and Shananka Clay, where as long as he's able to sort of manage it and manage these drivers in between, he can use them as a pawn in his game to try and move himself further away from the rest of the field. So when it does come time to pit on those hard tyres, he'll have a little bigger of a window to work with in comparison to Tiger Hardy, Shananka Clay, and Max Wiesel.
Indeed, and now it's going to be down to see what Tycho and Shanaka and Max can try and do to gain in on the back of these 3 soft runners. We go on board with Tycho Hardy as he comes through in towards number 14 and towards Stavalo. We can see there, obviously, Tycho not looking as strong as Otis Lawrence did, but he's got a good exit on the back of Philip. He's going to use some battery to try and pull himself along. But yeah, the key thing is once these pit there, that effectively puts that gap between Otis and Tycho to over a second, which then eliminates any chance of Tycho getting that DRS, meaning Otis can then try and just pull himself away and, you know, lead the race by a little bit more than he did, we can see, into the braking zone. Tycho gaining in, but yet again not close enough to make a move. Pressure into the pits now to get himself probably onto a set of medium tyres. We'll see what Tycho Hardy can do. He's got a 7/10 gap to Keane, and, you know, once more and more of these pit, he's going to lose so much more time here. Exactly.
He's just kind of got a hope now. Obviously, we've had a 1 race clutch car in, so there won't be any double stacking for race clutch. You could lose them far too much time. It's not feasible in the slightest. But now he's kind of just got to hope that Riesland and Kian Goendorp both, you know, stagger their pit stops slightly. Maybe one goes in, then the next. If they both pit at the same time, he could be very much in a world of trouble without that DRS to defend off the likes of Shananka Clay and Max Wiesel behind. He's got to keep that pressure up there, but it's going to be a tall task, and also his tyres aren't going to enjoy following so closely in the dirty air.
Indeed, you can see though Tycho Hardy gaining quickly on the back of Keane going up as they head through in towards Speaker's corner. Just watching on the back there of Keane's wing, you can see Tycho he just pulls up so much more quicker and has a lot more speed carry through the corners than Keane can manage. And this is where we can see now Tycho really try and get his foot down and get past the Williams. He needs to do it now. Unless Keane pits, you know, he'll be fine then. But I think if he doesn't, Tycho needs to try and launch an attack, because Keane obviously and Reese going longer than obviously he being Philip Presnader, they're going to have a bit of an advantage towards the end. But still, these on the hards now, I think will have a bigger advantage. So yeah, the strategy was, I think it's still probably all up in the air here.
Absolutely. Do just want to point out, Reece Linton's just got back past Otis. We got Mirko and Declan as well on the mediums. The medium tyres are still holding up really well. They're still on pace with the hards, if not still a little bit quicker than the hard compound runners around them. So they should theoretically be good to go towards the end of this Grand Prix if anyone decides to pit now. But we've got Reece and Kian both diving in at the same time. And that's exactly what Tycho needed in order for him to keep the DRS in this run. And in this stint to Otis Lawrence to make sure that Otis can't just run away with the race lead.
Indeed, as we can see, Mirko Soriano looking to gain in on the back of Nico Benzet for P5. He's done a good job so far, Mirko has, along with Declan Barrett, who, remember, started down in 20th place here in this race. He's now up into P8, so he's had a really good start and launch through the field, as much as he definitely would have loved to, and the team would have definitely liked him to as well. As we can see Mirko though to the outside of Nico Benz, you can just see pulling alongside, pulling ahead, as we can see Fassi looking also to get ahead of Nico Benz as well. Can he get alongside? No, he can't. He sits behind on the back of the Haas just for now, and we'll see surely what can Mirko do here, because his strategy was, is he going, he's got to be going for soft, surely, hasn't he?
I mean, you would think about it. Surely, like, the soft tyre runners on a full tank of fuel were able to do 10 laps. They should be able to do 11 on half tank. Like, you got to think as well, the way the lateral loads handle the car and how much it sloshes around in the tank, that would cause a lot more tyre deg than what it would, because it weighs less, because there's less sloshing going through some of the cambered corners. The tyres would last that a little bit longer.
Definitely, indeed, as we can see. Now looking a little bit further ahead, it's going to be Fassi looking to get ahead of Nico Benz, who, even though he's had a bit of unfortunate, he still kept himself in a decent P6 at the moment. So, you know, he's just got to try and go along with it. I think he's not going to be helping for many points. I think he's just going to try and get himself to the end of this race. As you can see, Max V's looking to get in on the back of Shanaka Clay. He's not going to send a move, and I think we'll see some of these hard runners probably pit shortly. As I say that, Max Wiesel into the pits now, off of those set of hard tyres, along with Nico Benz.
Absolutely, and you got to think now, do they want to go onto that soft compound, or do they want that guaranteed pace until the end of a race on the mediums? Personally, it wouldn't surprise me if we end up seeing softs here, because these drivers know how to look after their tyres brilliantly, but it will be the mediums for Nico Benz, and it'll also be the mediums for Max Wiesel.
Indeed, so obviously we're going to take those all the way to the end now in this race, and they'll take them 10 laps. Obviously those ahead, obviously Philip Presnader will take his 2 laps longer, being 12 laps, as Tycho Hardy now takes the lead of the race, heading down in towards Lake Cobb. F7R still looking strong here in the E-Series programme. They started off well back in Azerbaijan, looking very strong here again here in Belgium. As you can see, Jay Van Bussel also now into P9. He's also had a decent run so far, so we'll see if he can try and get himself some decent points here in this race. Max Wiesel, Tanner O'Shea's dropped down as he had a mistake somewhere. It seems he lost something. Max Wiesel got a bit of a tap there, I think, from Nico Benz as they head through down in towards Bruxelles. Obviously, it's going to be the 2 TF10s with an MVR in the middle, and we'll see what can happen there between those. They all file through, and then Max needs to gain within. He's got to, get 3 seconds on Kian in the next couple of laps. Otherwise, he's going to lose more and more time with that DRS and allow those who pit after to also be within a second or 2 of him. So he's got to push now to be right in the back of Kian within the next 2 or 3 laps, looking further back ahead. We can obviously see Mirko and Declan do need to get yet again another stronger job, but it seems that Declan's looking to drop off, so maybe those mediums also now looking to not be as strong.
Yeah, I mean, they don't look too great. I'm looking at Mirko. The delta keeps falling further and further back. As we're going to see Shananka Clay diving it into the pits for the hards. So that could be throwing a lifeline to Max Wiesel if the DRS range is activatable there. And Shananka Clay is able to sort of pull him and the rest of them behind just slightly further forward to get back onto that DRS train with Reese, Philip and Kian. There could be a lot to play for there, but I feel like it's going to be more of a wait and see, as we've got a brilliant battle heading up over Russian Radiomov, Otis Lawrence and Tycho Hardy, as Otis takes back the lead of this race once again. These two, they're fighting like it's not the net race lead, it's the actual race lead. Could very well be after they end up diving it into the pits and potentially putting on a fresh set of softs.
Yeah, we'll see what their strategy is. It could definitely be soft for those two indeed here in this race. We can see Pressure ahead of Reese Linton. We've got Nico ahead of Max, Tony O'Shea ahead of Shanaka Clay here in this race. And Tony must have made a mistake because look how far he's dropped off the back of his teammate. He's got 2-second gap now to Max Wiesel. So surely, Josh, he made a mistake somewhere in the last lap. Was you able to see somewhere on the telemetry where he lost Tom in that middle sector possibly?
Tell you what, I'll give you a little gander.
As we can see, Shanaka Clay looking to gain in on the back of Turner Roche here as they all fire through towards No Name, and Shanaka all on the back of Roche. Obviously, also got to remember he's on 9-lap old means. I did kind of forget about that part. He pitted very early on, didn't he? As Clay looking to get through, but perfect defence here from Tony Roche as they head now down towards the Piff Paff chicane. Shanaka Clay to the inside. Tony's going to try and hang it around the outside. No way, Jose. Say Shanaka Clay there. As it'll be Kuba Wozniak with a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings. Julian Klaffenbach looking to get ahead of Roche, who can't do so. Roche's doing a perfect job of defence now here in this race, and it's kind of really getting rid of the strategy here for Julius looking to get past.
Yeah, absolute brilliant team play there from Tony Roche, just giving Max that little bit of breathing room he would need. As we're going to see Ismail Fassi trying to put it around the outside of Blanchimont, thinks better of it. He decides to try and get a little bit of a cutback, but it's not going to be quite on. Brilliant car placement there by Tony Roche, but he just gets bullied on the inside there by Ishmael. And we're going to also see Franek Morawiak here looking to try and cut that Mercedes back quicker than the Red Bull. How many times we've seen these go wheel to wheel around Spa? Not as much as we would have liked, but there we go. Beautiful move around the outside, as you would expect on 9-lap pressure tyres on the Mercedes car in comparison to the Red Bull. Tony Roche did a stern job defending there. Created that little 1-second gap now to the likes of Tycho Hardy and Shanaka Clay, giving Max that little bit of extra breathing room, which he could very well need come the end of this race.
Indeed, you don't know where to look here because there's battles absolutely everywhere on this field. We've got Mirko Soriano on a set of softs now looking to try and get himself to the end here on these tyres. Obviously, Thomas Ronhart still leading the way on those 10-lap-old mediums. Surely his strategy is kind of a little bit messed up here now. Because look how close you can see the likes of, well, Reese Linton is literally within a second of him. So Ronald's strategy along with his progresses could be a little bit done over here in this race. We've got Mirko looking to gain in on the back of Ishmael Fassi. We've got Morawiak ahead of Tony Roche, finally getting past. Now he's lost a lot of time too. Klaffenbach and those upper field, as we can see as well. Kean Godendorp looking to gain in on the back of Philip Pressure, but also Max Wiesel. Not bringing that gap down as much as I thought he would. He's only brought it down by, what's that, 0.6 of a second within 3 laps.
Yeah, it's one of those things because the DRS is so strong around here. If he gets it, within that DRS, he'll be right up to the back of the car as Rihard's here with a little bit of defending. Obviously, against his former team as well of Race Clutch. Bit of a storyline going on there.
Ronhar's into the pit, so he's going to pit now. He'll drop all the way down to the rear of the field. We've got Jerry Van Bussel and Declan Barrett also into the pit lane. And now it's Rihard's leading the race, but he's going to be defending heavily to get Shanaka Clay right up into this field, because look at the gap there. He wants to get everyone all close together to let Shanaka try and charge through, obviously, on those really good tyres along with Otis Lawrence here in this race. They all head up now in towards Eau Rouge and Radion, all flying through, 4 of them separated by about 0.5 of a second. They head down towards Lake Cobb, and now I can see Rihard's been absolutely swamped by the field. 2 of them pass. Can Keane get past here? I think Rihard's going to try, but I don't think there's much he can do here against his straight line speed of all those ahead as they all fly through now in towards Lake Cobb. Rihard's P1 to P4 within 1 straight, but Nico Benz as well, Josh. Where's he come from here in all this?
I mean, I feel like he was able to put that qualifying pace to good use. He's been able to bang in a couple qualifying laps with a bit of fresh air in front of him. He's found himself climbing up to P5. All of a sudden, that 3-second penalty doesn't look as disastrous as it did a couple laps ago. And now he's still got that little bit of fresh air. He's got Rihard's up ahead, who's obviously going a little bit slower on the old compound tyre. So Nico could very well potentially use him as a bit of a slingshot with the DRS to catch back up to the rear of Kean Gorendorp in the Williams, currently in P3, which could, again, potentially see Nico fighting for a potential podium position.
Definitely. I'm keen though to see what Mirko Soriano can do. Obviously, he's on that one lap old soft. He's got better tires than pretty much all those ahead of him. On the softer compound, he's going to be looking to make a big charge. We'll see what he can do. Can he get himself past Ishmael Fassi? He's not really using much battery, but he's getting quickly on the back of the Williams as they head down in towards a bus stop chicane. Can he find a way past? No, he can't back to the... Well, he can find a way past to the head down, but we'll go back towards the front. We can see Rihal Sprogis into the pit. So now that's his defending job done. So it's dead to Nico now to pull himself along and get that DRS on the top three, which he can't do. He got it on Rihals, but not on Keen ahead. So he's going to still have a lot of work to do here in this race. Max Wiesel going to be sitting behind comfortably with that DRS, of course, down towards the Laycom chicane. Obviously, Rihals will come down towards P17 here, obviously 6, and also back into the pit lane for some new tyres. Let's have a little look back at Mirko Soriano. What can he do now? Can he try and make a move as Max takes away P4? Mirko, Josh, I think we can call him in here for a possibly podium result.
I don't want to write it too. I don't want to say anything just yet because I feel like there's a lot of these drivers who, if given the opportunity, you know, they'll put up a very stern defence, and I'm not too sure about how well Mirko's going to be able to dance around them. Despite being on that soft compound tyre, we saw how well Rihard was able to hold up the field. I feel like, given the opportunity here, I reckon a lot of these drivers up in front, as long as they know they're not going to fall out of this DRS train, they'll put up a very stern defence on Mirko, forcing him to take awkward lines to go for risky overtakes, which could potentially put them both out of the DRS range, which would be catastrophic for this charge for him trying to get to this podium, as you mentioned.
Definitely, but I think also Otis Lawrence is looking to be one that's unstoppable. He's looking to get a move ahead of Nico Benz now, up the inside at Curve de Paul Frere. Gets a move nicely done and dusted. Now, they head back down towards Blanchimont, and Otis Lawrence on 2-lap-old tyres. He's got those ahead on 4, 5 and 6-lap-old tyres. He's also, I think, could be looking to try and take a victory here in this race. Obviously, he's got behind him Shanaka Clay and Tycho Hardy for company, who will also be looking to get some decent results, so we'll see what Otis can do.
Yeah, I mean, this top 9 is absolutely terrifying. Think if we're all in the one DRS train, top 11, for a matter of fact, being all so close together. As you see, Max Wiesel taking a very deep line going down into turn 1 there. That'll give Otis Lawrence the opportunity he needs there to get back past and be able to climb up over Rouge and Radion. Currently sitting P4, but he's got 8 temps to the cars in front, and we know what Max Wiesel is like. He's wily. He's you know, he's a veteran. He's a seasoned battler around here. As we're going to be seeing swaps all across the grid there, with Kian falling into P2, and Otis still defending off Max there, which I'm quite surprised about. I thought Max was being able to do a little bit more there, but you got Nico Benson, Shananka Clay battling, dueling it out, heading all the way down there, LeBroux, before they end up trying to bring it back into no name. But Shananka Clay seems to have got that one done, and Nico seems to be struggling a little bit more on his tyres.
He does, as we can see Tycho Hardy looking to also get a move here on the MVR driver. Obviously, earlier on we could see it was Tony Roche had a spin down at turn 1. It was on the contact, we just lost the car down at that first corner. Obviously, now loses more times. We can see it. That'll be Tycho, but a contact between him and Nico through as they head down now in towards Stavelo once again, and we can see further ahead, Otis Lawrence already looking to make a charge on the back of Philip Preschnader as they head up in towards Blanchimont shortly. You can see just pushing through the Alpine here as Tycho does get the move ahead of Nico Benz for P7 in this race. We can see as well Mirko Soriano looking to get himself ahead of Nico, but I'm just keeping my eye here on the back of Otis Lawrence. Does he send a move here in towards the chicane? He does send it a little bit late back, so it was a bit of a dummy send, I think, there from Lawrence, as we can see further back. Mirko Soriano looking to gain in further back again. We can see Declan Barrett not making the moves he would have liked, I don't think.
Yeah, that's what I was saying with that soft compound tyre. It's brilliant until you're out that DRS range. It can be so dangerous. As we see Mirko there getting a little push and shove going, realised that Nico wasn't interested in trying to go for an overtake on Tycho Hardy, backed out before the braking zone of a bus stop, just making sure he was able to follow him through. But this will give a brilliant opportunity to Nico Benz here to use a little bit of his battery, to use that DRS to try and fight back against the Ferrari here on the outside. Oh, okay, right. I'm not sure if you had that.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of contact. It seems
Okay,
more contact.
okay.
As they head through now in towards Malmedy. Nico back on the inside, even more contact, and that's going to be Nico into the wall. And I think he just about saves the car. Yes, he does. He stopped on circuit, and I'm not quite sure what's going on there. He's going to enter back on, obviously, safely to let Thomas and Jerry through. But whew, that was a close one.
Ishmael Fassi get back past Mirko Soriano, and Ishmael is now also out of the DRS.
Well, we'll see. Ishmael's got to get himself back within a second. He's done it already. There we are. There's no question about that. He's got himself within a second there with Tycho Hardy. And look at this now. I think Tycho will also be a late charger in this race here with those tyres. Mirko's tyres will drop off by we get to the end of the race. So Tycho and Otis, it's all down to them here, I think, on this strategy. As we can see, Otis looking to make a move back ahead of Philip again. This time, though, down towards the brakes, and he's not quite close enough as he was before. But either way, Race Clutch are on a really good strategy. They're looking to take, I think at least one driver here on the podium, as that's going to be Max Wiesel making a send in towards chicane. Caught Otis a little bit napping. Luckily, didn't come to contact, but then that now put Shanaka Clay right in his rear as they head down to turn 1.
Yeah, of course, and it's a Constantino effect. You try and go for an overtake. If you don't make it stick, you're going to be so vulnerable to the cars behind getting a better run out of a corner than you. And that's exactly what we saw with Shananka Clay right there, as we see Max Wiesel all over the back of Otis Lawrence through turn 1. But of course, you end up going all out attack. You end up pushing that car a little bit too hard. And you can see Otis now just pulling that little bit of a distance there, as we're going to be seeing the Race Clutch drivers reassuming the formation of 1-2 in the lead of this race, with Kian now just sitting behind him, P3, who surely has to be looking in his rear view mirrors to the likes of Otis Lawrence, Shananka Clay, and of course Max Wiesel currently sitting P5 in that Red Bull, who, despite being on the older tyres compared to the cars around him, still looks hungry to try and make a couple moves.
He does. I think he's going to struggle to make moves. I think his main thing is just to try and defend where he's now. I don't think he can make a move past Otis again. So I think he's just going to try his best to defend against Shanaka and Tycho behind, who are also looking very strong. Especially when it comes towards that attacking phase of the race as they head down towards Piff Path once again. Otis looking to close in on the back of Kian, but then again, he's not looked overly eager to get a move done yet. He's got the pace to do so, but he hasn't, he's not sent any ambitious dive bombs. He's just kind of stuck behind the back of the Williams / the Alpine for the past couple laps. But you can see now Otis with a good run down towards Blotchmore. Does he go for a send here because he's gaining in? And also, it seems Philip also losing a bit of time on that straight. You can see they're a little bit quicker behind than the likes of Pressionator as they head down towards the chicane. Obviously, Philip could also work with his teammate here to try and defend that 1 and 2. Otis looking to the outside. He breaks himself into the chicane. That was a scary moment there for the Veloci Academy driver for a second, I think. Whew. That was close to contact between him and I believe it would have been Philip as well in second as they head back down to turn 1. But yet again, Shanaka Clay looking to make a move this time to the outside of Max Wiesel into turn 1 there.
Yeah, we got slightly further behind Mirko trying to get an overtake sorted around the outside around Ishmael Fassi, but there's not quite enough room there. But I feel like it's still going to heat over once we get to the Kemmel Straight. I'm not sure about you, Richie, but I can feel something boiling over here with the likes of Shananka Clay, Tycho Hardy, and Max Wiesel in an absolute titanic battle so far.
As we can see, Tycho to the inside. Can Shanaka make a move? No, he can't, so they just stick behind each other. Philip and Reese there having been a swap around, I believe, for the lead of the race, and Kean still stuck in that third position. Can't really find anything past that at all here. So for Notice, he's got to make the move soon. He's gaining in, but he's got to start sending moves. They've got 2 laps to go. He can't really afford to stay behind. He's got to get past 3 cars to win this race. Veloce, we know, in some cases they'll be looking for a P3, but here they need a win. They're so far back in the standings. They're about 30 points back. They need to get a win here tonight. Obviously, Declan Barrett as well doing a decent job up in P11. I don't think he'll make any much more from where he's at the moment, so it could be possibly a podium for Veloce along with the top 10, which I think would be very nice for them indeed, and trying to close into that gap at the front. We can see coming through Otis a bit of a slide as he exits out of the chicane, coming through the double right-handers now towards the Curve de Paul Frere. This time he's got a decent run on the back of the Williams.
Yeah, you would expect him to make a move here. He's shown he's got the pace over the last couple of laps. It's just been some very stern defensive driving from these front 3, almost going in a formation to try and put Otis off from trying to get any overtakes. So Otis really has to try and catch him out by surprise, and he almost did so. He almost got himself out by surprise with that little late switch to the outside, but he's been able to get that overtake sorted on Kian, as we're going to see Kian now falling into the trap of TF10 Grandpa, which is of course Max Wiesel in that Red Bull, looking to try and gain a couple extra positions. So Kian's job now is just to try and hold on and follow Otis through if Otis decides to try and make any more moves, which I'm sure will be on his agenda. Next up is going to be Reese Linton at the end of his Kemmel Straight.
Indeed, we'll see what Otis can do now here as they come through. DRS activated, to the inside of 1, goes to the inside of 2, to the grass. A bit of contact there between Otis and Reese for a second, as then we can see Kian Gundop also looking to make a move for P3 in this race. So it'll be Otis leading ahead of Reese, ahead of Kian, ahead of Philip Pressionator now as they all fly through in towards the next complex of corners down at Malmedy, in towards Ravage, and Now, Otis, the question is, they've got 1 lap left. Obviously, Reese gets that DRS. Will this be enough for Otis here?
I mean, you've got to start thinking that maybe Otis only wanted to get the one of them.
Otis,
but
has
both
he
of
got
them
damage or something?
realised.
Because he's very slow.
No, I think he's just trying to hold up the field a little bit more.
Wide.
I think he
No.
Looking at that further back. Oh, it's squeaky bump time there for Tycho Hardy. Took that inside curve, ended up mounted as they go too wide once again. With Max Wiesel on the inside, but Tycho Hardy's trying to hang it around the outside here of Philip Preschnader. Oh, okay, I'm so lost on what's going on.
Well,
They're pretty wide for almost every corner.
Yeah, and Pressure has now dropped down to P8 in this race. Big shame here for Race Clutch. Was looking for a 1-2 now, looking to have a P2, P8 here at the moment. But Philip's also under pressure now from Julian Klaffenbach, who's worked his way into the top 10. And Tycho's got a 5-second penalty for gaining a corner by gaining a position by going off the circuit. We'll see if that gets removed afterwards. As they all fly down now in towards the break zone at the bus stop chicane. And look at this, they're all flying through together. Klaffenbach having a bit of a spin there. Mirko back ahead of the archery as he goes off circuit, comes back on. He gets a penalty for going wide. And we've got Declan Barrett now looking to make it with Reese Linton back in the lead ahead of Otis Lawrence. We'll see now what can Otis do. Can he try and make this work as Shanaka Clay making a move ahead of Keane Gondort? Final lap of the race. Who's going to come home with this here, Josh?
Surely you've got to think Otis here. Tucks back into the slipstream, uses the DRS, tries to get back past Reese Linton. You can already see his red light flashing though, which is obviously never a good sign, showing he's low on that battery. But it should still be enough to see him retake the lead of this race before the braking zone. It's just down to, an opportunity now that Reese has to manufacture himself. He has to try and catch Otis off guard going through Sector 2, surely into P1. That's surely off the table.
Indeed, we can see Ishmael Fast looking for a move there on Max Wiesel, heading down in towards the long braking zone. And Riso has got a decent run here, I notice, as they head through. Max, so a bit of contact with him and Ishmael Fassi through. Max off the track, Ishmael back ahead. Toka hard looking to get ahead as well as they head in towards P1. 2 wide hits. Ishmael versus Max Wiesel, who gets the position done. And Max now down to P6. Back to the front, we can see Reese looking to gain a notice again. Otis has got no battery. Reese will go out 30%. So Reese here, Josh, could still come home with a victory once they come through, down in towards the bus stop chicane.
Yeah, there's still an awful lot to be gained there for Reese Linton. He looks to be in the favourable position, chasing Otis Lawrence here through this final sector. You've also got Shananka Clay, who's chasing Kian as well. Kian's battery is also going as well, as Reese Linton pulls to the outside before heading through Blanchimont. They got to go too wide. Absolutely brilliant stuff there from Reese Linton. Retaking the lead of his race for Race Clutch. As you see Otis doing everything he can to fight back. He takes it to the outside. Of course, it'll swing back to the inside. Pushes Reese Linton off there. I'm sure the stewards will have an investigation, but on track, Otis Lawrence wins here in Belgium.
Well, that was the controversial one at the final corner. We'll see what happens between that, but Otis Lawrence, impeccable performance along with Reese Linton, who finishes in second. And Ishmael Fassi, hello, where have you come from? He finishes in P3. I swear he's down in P7 like 2 laps ago. Absolutely brilliant race here. And, well,
sorry, Thomas Ronhar, P7. Excuse me. RAG Sauber, what have you done? Where have you just generated him in?
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant move there. And, well, that was an ending, but the fact is the grid yet again was quite split up. Obviously, qualifying it was a bit, people starting in odd positions, but here we've also got people finishing in quite odd positions in this race, and we can see shortly the victor at the top step of the podium will obviously be the Veloci Academy driver of Otis Lawrence. We can see him there with his Welsh flag, as he will take the podium. And then we can see the final classification. It'll be Otis Lawrence who takes victory ahead of Reese Linton in second, and Williams getting Ishmael Fassi onto the podium ahead of Shanaka Clay and Kian Godendort. Then we have Max Wiesel, Thomas Ronhart, Mirko Soriano, Declan Barrett and Jerry Van Bussel in the top 10, followed by Frank Moraviak, Julian Klaffenbach, Tiger Hardy, Philip Preschnader, who had a spin on the line actually, Josh, who dropped down to P14. Then we have Rihard Sprogis, we have Nico Benz, Sixten Linton, Kib Wozniak, and then we did lose, then we had Tony Rochelle, then we did lose Istvan Puki at the end. Well, that was a surprising race, and I think, the team I kind of feel sorry for the most is probably MVR, starting on pole, finishing P16.
Yeah, not a great result to walk away. But dare I say, Race Clutch, you got to feel for them. It was looking so good. They almost had a double podium bolted on, but then, of course, it ended up all coming undone so quickly. Another team there to point out as well was Williams with a P3 and P5. brilliant result. Seemingly from almost out of nowhere, we had Keane in that battle for the lead almost throughout the entire race until he got to that dying stage. And Ishmael Fassi working his way back through the grid, starting from P13. Shows he's not just got the qualifying pace, he's also got a juicy handful of race pace too.
Indeed, and we're going to have a quick look to see if we can get any of Otis Reese or Isma into the VC for a quick interview, which would be nice, of course. And well, I didn't put a question mark. I just put interview. I feel bad for that. It seems like I'm asking, I'm forced them to do it. No, I'm not. Hopefully we can get a word from one of them shortly. But coming into that race, Josh, obviously qualifying we had obviously that Q1 and Q2 being a bit weird. Q3 really odd having it rain once they exited the pit lane. Then going into the race, we had obviously our pulse that dropped into P16. We had people from the back of the grid moving their way up towards the top 10. This race, it was. I don't think anyone could have betted on it at all. I think he would have not won on any bet you put on because nothing you predicted would have happened there.
No, it was so unpredictable. The weather forecast wasn't even correct. That's how unpredictable it was. It was absolute manic. But overall, very entertaining race. All the drivers gave it their all. It's all we can ask at the end of the day. And it was fantastic to watch them, compete against drivers that they wouldn't necessarily normally be able to race against, despite the grid being so stacked, finding out opportunities to try and make overtakes happen, thinking back to that squabble coming out of No Name, heading into P1 as well, not giving an ounce of leeway to the drivers who were racing as well was absolutely fantastic to watch. It was wholeheartedly a brilliant race to see overall.
Definitely, indeed. We'll move over to the intermission screen for the interview screen for a second to see if we can get anyone in. We can drag them up, but yeah, obviously going into in terms of standings, obviously it was Veloce Academy who took home the 35 points, along with Declan, I think, finishing around 9th, so that'll be a decent, I think, 18-20 for him. So Veloce are going to jump themselves up in the standings. S7R are going to keep themselves high up. Shanaka Clay obviously got a decent result for SRC, but Rehards is 14th. I don't know if that'll help them too much. And obviously Ferrari, yet again, a big shame for them in this race. They could have capitalised so much more than they did. They end up with a DNF and a P8, which you would think last season they were, they were the Red Bull. They were dominant.
Yeah. They were the standout team from last season's E Series, and I'm not sure what's happened. I don't know if they've lost a rhythm. I don't know if maybe some of their engineering staff has changed or whatnot, but something's surely happened. It's been very, very interesting to sort of see how they're going to be able to try and bounce back and, try and overcome this hurdle which they seem to have found internally to try and get the results back to what they had at the end of last season.
Indeed, and I don't think we'll get anyone in the interview room today, so we'll move ourselves back over to the intermission. Josh, if you keep an eye on it, we can have a look if anyone joins in last minute. Of course. It always happens. Last minute, someone joins in for an interview, but obviously, coming at this round next week, we'll look at the calendar quickly before we head off, and we can see, obviously, it's going to be off to Spain, which
yes,
there's had a bit of controversy in the past with the bumps on the circuit and the marbles causing issues, but I don't think it's a bad track. I think it's an enjoyable track. Also, it's could obviously be being removed off the F1 calendar in 26, which I think is also ridiculous. I think it should stay.
Yes.
I think it's a brilliant circuit. But obviously, these series drivers tackle this next. Obviously, we've been here once before, I think, obviously, last season, and it was a very good race there. So I think this season, I think with the grid, the way it's been so far, I don't think we'll expect to see any bad races at all. I think so far, every race has been action-packed, whether it's in terms of strategy, whether it's in terms of on-track battles. There's always something to be keeping your eye on.
I mean, absolutely. Doesn't matter really where you look as well. There's battles all throughout the field. Different strategies coming into play. Different, sort of theories to how long the tyres can last, how to manage them best. Different racing lines being used as well, which is fantastic to see. But I do believe this layout of Spain just gives that extra ounce of overtaking capabilities coming out of that final corner. We've seen it before in the traditional PSGL League, not E-Series, create some brilliant racing from last season. So I'm expecting very similar things here. And if we get as grid as stacked as it was tonight, I feel like it could definitely cause some almost certain upsets with, again, dare I say it, being almost as unpredictable as today.
Indeed, and obviously, well, that is all from us pretty much here. We've had a really good race and we'll end it off here. Obviously, make sure to follow us over on Twitch if you haven't already done so. It's been nice to see more people getting involved over on there. And obviously, make sure to subscribe here to the YouTube channel. And we'll be back next week for some more action. Obviously, next week is also when we start the PSGL main season. Obviously, the F2 all the way down to, I think it's F10.
Oh.
So it isn't next week.
Oh, hold the phone.
Oh, is it not announced?
No. It's not that. We've got Ishmael Fassi and Otis Lawrence in the
Oh, Josh,
room.
you scared me for a second. I thought it was announced then. Oh, Josh.
You're fine.
You made me absolutely have a heart attack there.
Right. Should we drag them in together?
well, you can do it. I don't know what about.
Absolutely. Let's get them both in. Otis and Ishmael, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Well, unexpected race. How'd you find that one?
I don't know who you asking. You asking me or Ismail?
I'm asking both of you. You can answer whichever way you want to.
First, mate.
You want to start?
I don't mind. Yeah, I'll start. Why not? I'll start. Yeah, it was a decent race. I mean, it was a pretty good strategy I was on. I was driving really well. And I think you guys saw the two last laps. Very interesting things happened with Philip and Reese. But yeah, we won. Some weird tactics from them, but yeah, we won. That's the main thing, and yeah, we'll come back stronger for the next one as well.
Yeah, Ishmael, how'd you find it?
To be honest, I don't even know what I'm doing here. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I was P8 last 2 laps, and somehow I ended up in the podium. But yeah, quali, we expected rain at the end of Q2, so I went out before, and I validated in P1, which was not ideal, and I didn't have time for another lap. So I knew that I was gonna be out, sorry. And yeah, then in the race, a lot of carnage happening. I was quite pissed at the beginning because I had to burn all my ARS. Well, I don't know how many times to catch up groups. And yeah, in the end, I had kind of 30-40 more ERS than everyone in front of me, except top 2, I believe. So I just had to manage it. I took my opportunities, and in the end, I end up by 6,000 in the podium.
Exactly, it was a brilliant race altogether. It's very entertaining to watch from the outside point. But if you could give one key moment you want to take away from this, Otis, what would it be?
One key moment of the race.
Yeah, of your race.
Last 2 laps. Literally last 2 laps always, because carnage happens. Max got damage. Kian got damage as well. So I don't know which lap was it. I believe 18 maybe. Mirko and Nico in front of me both clashed, and I was like a tenth behind them, and somehow I got in front without getting any damage or losing any time. So yeah, I feel like I was unlucky at the beginning, but very lucky in the end. So yeah.
Absolutely. Otis, what about you?
Yeah, I think the last few laps was the key moment of my race. Honestly, like, it's very frustrating to be buying those cars. They would have been in their battery car a lot, and yeah, they had quite a lot of straight line speed compared to me, so it's very hard to beat them today. But thankfully I did in my case. I tried playing it as patient as I could, but at one point I couldn't really be patient anymore because it was running out of laps. And yeah, we got the moves at the right time, and yeah, we came home with a win.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. Richie, you got any questions?
Well, as normal, no, I've got no questions at all. Just well done to both the obviously P2 and P3. The questions were already asked. That's my excuse every time.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Honestly.
Well, actually, you know what? I'll ask one question to
Oh,
both
there we
of
go.
them. Otis, you go
Yeah.
first. Are you going to be with us in Spain? If so, are you excited?
I'm not.
Well, there we are. That's the answer
Oh,
we
okay.
needed. Ismail, what about you?
Yes, I will.
Oh, do you like Spain?
I mean, it's a good track, but not to overtake, to be honest. Like, if it's always a train.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, indeed. It's always a bit of an interesting race. So you two, thank you for joining us. Obviously, Ismail, we'll see you next week. Otis, we'll see you whenever we see you. Have a good one, guys, and enjoy those podiums.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Bye.
Bye.
There,
Oh,
we can end it
lovely.
off. There we are.
There
I knew
we
it'd
go.
happen. I knew it'd happen.
Yeah.
I'm ending it off, and there's people there.
As soon as you said it on stream, I was like, they're going to join as soon as we're about to sign off. I can see it covered.
Yeah, so yet again, thank you everyone for joining. Obviously, on our Twitch page, go over to follow there, and obviously make sure to subscribe and like over on our YouTube channel. We'll be back next week. Obviously, we got, which I thought I accidentally leaked for a second, the main season starting off the F3 all the way down to whichever F it ends on for PS and PC. Obviously, those will all be streamed as well, or most of them will be streamed over on the channel on Thursday. And is it Thursday and Monday? It is, isn't it?
Thursday and Monday, yes.
Thursday and Monday, and then obviously we'll be back again on Friday. And PSGL PCF, as always, back on Wednesday. So obviously make sure to keep up with all that action, and we'll be back again with more E-Series next week. So for then,